You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Thanks for specifying. Tatum, a chance at a 4-point play for the second night in a row. And he hurt his ankle. Concern. Brown and Sabonis are both over there.
Oh, he's rolling around, too.
This is the last thing the Celtics want to see.
See, this is what's so dangerous about going underneath guys like that. You know, in their landing spot. Like, that is not cool.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome, everybody, to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Still waiting for ESPN's morning show to mention this story at all, even though it's probably the lead story for most other people around the country, whether you're from New England or not. But good morning. In case you didn't hear me last night, here's how it sounded almost around midnight for me. It looks like, though, it's nothing major. Thank goodness for Jason Tatum. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out at Twitter, X, at PShep326, on my Facebook page, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, and, of course, YouTube. Call or text the show, 727-858-6650. And don't forget to check out the awesome app right there, SR1029 The Game and SR1029TheGame.com. Good morning, everybody. It just absolutely, I continue to be stunned at the arrogance and ignorance of people at ESPN. I swear to God, it is unbelievable how they went, and I believe, last I checked, it was 45 minutes. 45 minutes in, and not even a mention of what happened to Jason Tatum last night. Not to mention the fact that the Celtics won again on the road in very convincing fashion against Sacramento. But the Jason Tatum rolled his ankle with 3:35 left in the third quarter. You would think if that was LeBron, they would have shut the fucking station down over there in Bristol. It's just ridiculous. But it's good. Jason Tatum and the hatred for the Celtics is so ridiculous for some of the people that the first story was Juju Watkins going down for USC. All right. Okay. I hate to see that. She's arguably the best women's college basketball player. She goes down with a season-ending injury. Okay. A half an hour on that? I don't think so. People are not going to the water cooler again going, oh my God, Juju Watson is out for the year. No, what they are going to the water cooler about is, holy shit, did you see what happened to Jason Tatum? His ankle bent backwards almost, yeah. And it looked worse than it was, thank God, because I thought he was done for the year. I thought he dislocated his ankle, and thank God he actually got up. He had to shoot 2 free throws. It ended up being a flagrant one, and it was an innocent. It was a flagrant one on Domantas Sabonis. He landed, and Jason hit a 3. Sabonis landed in his spot. It happens all the time. That's why it was a flagrant one. He didn't mean to do it. It wasn't anything vicious or malice about it. It just was an unfortunate accident. But I don't understand how you can be a national radio show and that is not your lead story, or at least your second story. They went from Juju Watkins at USC, by the way, the Trojans won, whoop-de-doo, 96-59, to Aaron Rodgers, the Rodgers watch, and then to the Giants, and it is, oh no, I'm sorry, forgive me, forgive me. They went from Juju Watkins. Guess what the second story was, Angel Martinez? We say good morning. I know you're not going to be here long, but guess what the second story was. Just take a guess.
Taking it was the Lakers?
Yes, yes. The Lakers, who get humiliated again, this time on the road against Orlando, this time once again with LeBron and with Doncic playing, and they scored a whole bunch of points. It means who got nothing. They got nothing. They lose again. They are not getting out of the second round. They'd be lucky to get out of the first round. I'm so sick of it. That is not the second story. Hello, McFly, ESPN, you jerk-offs over there. That is not the second story, the fucking Lakers losing in Orlando. Do you hear me? Listen to me now and hear me later. I'm telling you. They're a bunch of idiots over there. Absolute idiots. I don't know who puts together these shows for them. And thank God all of you are joining me. And fuck them. I am so sick and tired of these Bristol idiots over there. They have no idea how to prioritize. None. Absolutely none. The Lakers are losing to Orlando are not the second story for your broadcast this morning. It just isn't. And neither is Aaron Rodgers being on hostage as your third story. I'm going to count to 10. The lead story was Jason Tatum and nearly a season-ending injury. Thank God. It doesn't look like it's going to be. If that was ever LeBron or one of your SGA, you guys would have had a wet dream over it. Your producers, look what we got. But because it's Tatum and because of such anti-Celtic hatred in Bristol, it is unbelievable. You guys sit there and just smooch on the Lakers from top to bottom. It is unbelievable. It's like listen to a softcore porn that isn't very good. It's like Max Late at Night where they almost get to what you want to see. But they're so predictable. They are so predictable. It's unbelievable. You don't mention him in the first hour, you dickwads. It's unbelievable. I don't know what they do over there. I swear to God, I don't know. I know the hosts are handed a whole bunch of papers and say, do this. But it's never the right priority. Most of the time, it isn't. It's all Laker bullshit. And then you spend a half hour on Juju Watkins. You don't spend a half an hour on her. You don't. And I'm not saying to spend a half an hour on Jason Tatum either. But that's got to be the lead story. I am sorry. Jason Tatum going down last night the way he did is a much bigger story nationally than Juju Watkins going down for the USC Trojans. No one is sitting there calling their friends going, oh, unless you go to USC or unless you're part of the ESPN women's broadcast going, oh my God, can you believe, no one's going to be talking about that today outside of the 2% fandom that follow women's college basketball. And believe me, I am a huge proponent of women's basketball come NCAA tournament time. I think it's fantastic. But it's still not, I'm sorry. I will not be fucking politically correct. It is not the lead story. It just isn't. No, the average sports fan is talking about Tatum, or they're probably talking about the NFL or even some college football, what Cam Ward did and what he said yesterday. They are not sitting around. No one's texting their friends and go, God, did you see what happened to the USC girl last night? No one. Nobody's doing that. Ridiculous. Anyway, here's the full cut of what happened to Jason Tatum in case last night. I just played. I'm going to play more of it. Here we go.
Within the confines of the game.
This is the lead story. You idiots in Bristol.
A chance at a 4-point play for the second night in a row. And he hurt his ankle. Concerned. Brown and Sabonis are both over there.
Oh, he's rolling around, too.
This is the last thing the Celtics want to see.
See, this is what's so dangerous about going underneath guys like that. In their landing spot. Like, that is not cool. And that's why you can't do that. You can't go underneath. You got to let the guy land. You got to let the guy land.
We got good news, Celtics fans. Jason Tatum is rolling out onto the court. Has a moment with Domantas Sabonis, who got called for the flagrant foul, invading his landing area. That's why the Celtics called timeout, because if Tatum couldn't shoot these free throws, he would have been done for the game.
That's 3 straight misses, I believe.
Finally got one to fall. Again, because it's a flagrant foul, the Celtics don't have to give a foul to get him out of the game. He will head to the bench and get a well-deserved round of high fives from everybody. And Tatum's heading straight to the locker room.
That's true. And Eddie House last night filling in for Brian Scalabrine on NBC Sports Boston. But the good news is head coach Joe Mazzulla. And what was really good is that not only was Tatum able to come out and shoot those free throws, making 1 out of 2, but he walked out off the floor without a fairly noticeable limp, which isn't bad. And Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Celtics, says he's optimistic that he will not be out for a long time. But it just aggravates me because if any of these other star players outside of Boston in the NBA had gone down like that, it would be all over the place. I am just, and I shouldn't let what goes on in Bristol bother me because I know they have their heads up their respective tuchuses about so much shit over there, and they can't get out of each other's way fast enough. They can't fire enough good people and keep all these idiots on. That could not survive a day in broadcasting without a producer handing them 7 sheets. They do no prep work. Most of them don't watch a lot of games. And you got to sit there. And people believe this shit. People believe them like they actually know what they're talking about. It's unbelievable, some of the stuff. There are some people over there that I like and respect, but overall, to talk about Juju Watkins for a half an hour today and then head into your next story is how the Lakers got humiliated again on the road. The team is 3-7. They'll be lucky to get out of the first round. Forget the second round. They're fading fast like I thought they would. Luka or no Luka, LeBron or no LeBron. They're not that good. They're simply not that good. They're an okay team with 2 superstars on the team, allegedly. They're okay. They're not great. They are not a great team. They are fading fast. They are fading fast, and they better be careful, or they'll be playing in the 7-10 little playoff thing, the play-in tournament coming up in just a few weeks. But I'm sorry. I have had it. You tell me if you overhear one conversation today, Angel, about, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Juju Watkins last night at USC? Horrible story. Hate to see any star player in any sport go down. I get it. But that's not the lead. That's not the lead. You want to make it the second story, fine. Make it. It just isn't. It's just not what people, it's plastered. It's all over their webpage. And then to the right on top headlines, Cam Ward to Titans GM at Pro Day, quote, solidifying top pick, which we'll get to in a second. But anyway, good morning, Angel. How are you? I'm off my,
Good morning, Pete.
Again.
Yeah, no, listen. I understand it as well because it is tough, unfortunately, where they make the Lakers, everybody knows at this point, their top priority. Why? I have no idea, but that's always been their top priority.
It moves the needle because these numbnut producers. No, it doesn't. It makes people turn the radio off. And we had Kevin Winter on. He said it. He said they make these guys, some of them, sometimes it's not there, but they. If I'm the host and I look at the sheet, block A, B, C, D, that's how it's done, and I say, are you serious? I wouldn't do it. I mean, I would deviate from the script, say, no, we're moving this to here and this up front. You know, it's like a presidential speech sometimes. You see the writers like, no, let's get rid of this. Let's move this to here. That's what you do. They don't get it in Bristol. Why do you think they're firing so many people? Why do you think they had to drop Major League Baseball? They think like showing the WNBA or these 3-on-3 shit, and I don't care if it's men or women, whatever it is. You're not going to get money. You're losing money. They're losing millions of dollars over there. And a lot of it is because of this kind of stuff that they don't get. They want everybody to be politically correct. Well, politically correct in this business, you know what that gets you? Fired. It makes you go bankrupt. If you see all these radio companies, they were trying to be politically correct too. Now they're all in bankruptcy court. Sorry, Angel. Now I'm off my soapbox.
No, you're good. No, but they are. Well, then there's also a lot of folks know that a lot of the woke stuff for ESPN has also gotten a hard hit as well. So that's been another thing with them.
People are sick of it. They are sick of it. If you haven't noticed, people are sick of it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. They keep forcing it down your throat. And it's a pain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, look how long it took the NFL to stop with the, stop hate or whatever it was. And then he finally put, choose love or something during the Super Bowl. So it's just, you got to stop with the nonsense one way or the other, ESPN. And it continues to fail. And it's unfortunate because ESPN used to be the go-to for so many people. And now you're starting to hear all these.
Because it was the only game in town. And then then you got dickheads, like Skip Bayless, who can't get out of his own way. That numbnut. Why would you listen? That was your alternative. Him and Shannon Sharp and other. I mean, that was a joke of a show. It was a joke. I mean, that's your alternative to listen to Skip Bayless? What is he going to tell you that is anything? Is it entertaining? No. Is it informative? No. Oh, he works out every day and covered the Dallas Cowboys back. So what? So what?
Yep.
That guy is making like $5 million a year to tell you what? He's not entertaining. He's not informative. Nobody's watching. It absolutely for me. Thank God I have this platform, and there's nobody here to tell me to do anything. I just tell the truth. I just tell you, or at least what I perceive to be the truth. You may not like it, but most of what I'm saying, and when it regards to this business, is fucking dead on balls accurate. Mona Lisa Vito, dead on balls accurate. And my buddy Kevin Winter backed it up last week or 10 days ago when he was on. I tell you the same bullshit that goes on in Bristol. It's and eventually it will cost you more money to watch ESPN and ESPN2. It will cost you more money because, like everybody else, they're going entirely digital. That's where we'll be in 5 years. I'll bet you within 5, maybe less, you will not be able to go to your cable box and put ESPN on unless you've paid a premium fee like you would for Netflix or Hulu. It'll probably be like somewhere between $12 and $15, $14.99, whatever it is. That's what is going to happen. So I'm telling you, get ready for it. And you know what? You look at all the subscribers that they have lost over the last even decade. I'm telling you, you would be amazed. People, I think, would be amazed at how many people just don't watch, just tune it out. Now, because of what I do and everything else, I'm kind of forced to have just for the amount of games that they show that I actually want to watch. But I'm not sitting there outside the Red Sox. I'm not sitting there watching any baseball game that they had. Now, I think they're making a mistake. I think they simply can't afford. They overpaid for Major League Baseball like idiots. Way, way overpaid, which is why they had to drop it. But what they're going to substitute in there for programming is going to be way worse. It's going to get way less ratings, but it'll cost them less money. So they look at it as like they're making money.
Yep.
Because and it's kind of a crazy dichotomy. It's just nuts. Can't stand it. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm good. Just listening to the folks that, other than the Commanders, obviously had ramped up their roster. I'm hearing a lot of folks saying, well, are the Eagles done? Listen, Harry Roseman will be just fine. The Eagles will be just fine. As you've been mentioning.
What people are you hearing that say that? People in your neighborhood? Because anybody who says the Eagles are done or what? I mean, the Eagles are going to be favored to win the Super Bowl, and they should be. Now, Washington's going to be a good team. They're good. They'll compete for the division. Mm-hmm. But the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs. They have the best roster, and that's with the best roster, despite losing a few guys. They still have the best roster. They also signed a whole bunch of guys. They can't sign everybody. They've done an amazing job. Howie Roseman has done an amazing job. But yeah, Washington's going to be a competitive team. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
Will they throw Philadelphia in the NFC East? I don't think so, but they'll be competitive.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But right across the street, you have the Phillies, who obviously played their last game here in Clearwater yesterday. They're heading back home for, a couple of meaningless, spring training games, and then the regular season starts. They say they got their roster finalized. I think the Phillies will struggle early on into the season, but it's nothing new with the Phils. We've seen it either way. We've had the hot start, slow down. They're good at the All-Star break, and then there's either a collapse or something else. Past couple years have been fine. Last year to exit out early, I don't think that's the way they wanted it, but I think they will be very, very competitive this season. Obviously, the hot take will be the New York Mets, but we've seen where the Mets have always either...
Mets will fail.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jay. Jay's coming on at 8:30, but yeah. I don't know what my Red Sox are going to be. I think they're going to be competing. There's no question. Now, they're playing two absolutely useless, meaningless games in Mexico. Yesterday and today, and then they head back. So we're going to get Ian Brown on, I think, from MLB.com on Thursday. We'll do a big MLB preview because it's opening day, real opening day. Christian Campbell for the Red Sox, the rookie at second base, has been outstanding. He had one of the top web gems the other day, big diving stop at second base. So he's definitely made the roster, no doubt about that. And we'll see. It's got, look, the first... we all know that pitchers dominate hitters in the first really month of the season. A lot of times because you're still playing in cold weather, crazy conditions. I mean, trust me, The snowstorms are not done yet in the Northeast and Midwest. It's the bad weather is coming. It'll get cooler again. It'll get misty, rainy. It'll be bad in the Midwest and the Northeast. But the pitchers always dominate, usually the first, month of the season. That's going to be no surprise. For the Dodgers, Mookie Betts has still got that virus thing going on in his stomach after not being able to play in Japan and had to fly home early. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Your Phillies will definitely be in contention for a playoff spot. There's no question about that. Joe Mazzulla, after the game, asked about Tatum missing games after he went down last night.
I literally just asked him how he's doing. He said, okay, I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but I know he'll do anything and everything to make sure he just gets better.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will be the case. Like I said, the fact that he walked off without a really noticeable limp after his foot, if you see, his foot went like that side. It looked, and because of the high top he had on, it probably looked a lot worse. I thought his ankle was backwards. I've seen that happen to baseball players before. And I was oohing and eyeing. I woke up peanut gallery. She was sleeping. And it sounded like bad softcore porn at my house around midnight last night.
Oh, no.
No, please, get up, stop. Yeah. And when he got out, I was like, thank God. Yes, thank.
Did it look worse than the one from Cooper Flag?
Well, it looked like that. It looked like that.
Okay.
Cooper, but Cooper had a more noticeable limp at the end. Thank God
Right.
Tatum was okay. Absolutely. All right. I know you got to get out of here. I got a lot of audio and video. Big show coming up today. Jay Flanderly from Beavs World at 8:30 in Ann Arbor. So we'll get his take on what the campus is like up there. Wolverines moving on to the Sweet 16. We got a lot of Bill Burt's going to join me at 9:05 today. We'll talk some NFL. Patriots, they lost Sly, their kicker, yesterday to the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans appear to be ready to draft Cam Ward. Had a tremendous workout. The Boston College Pro Day was yesterday. We'll have some highlights from that as well. Asante Samuel, for some reason, on some podcast, went off on Deion Sanders. Asante Samuel, former Patriot, who fell down in the Super Bowl. I mean, he had his moments with the Patriots. He was a very good cornerback, played a lot opposite Ty Law back in the day. But his logic, or should I say the torrential flood of illogic of what he said about Deion Sanders is ridiculous, which I'll play the audio from that as well. Far be it for me to sit there and give Deion Sanders a whole bunch of praise. He's one of the greatest football players ever to play. I just sometimes, his demeanor and press conferences and all that stuff and how to dictate where his son is going to play, that aggravates me. But as a player, one of the top three NFL players, in my opinion, of all time. Jerry Rice would be one, and then Deion Sanders is right up there, and then maybe Tom Brady after that. And it's subjective. But what Asante Samuel said is so far off base. It is crazy about Deion Sanders, but we'll get to all of that and a lot more. We got some reaction still from Rick Pitino benching R.J. Lewis Jr. that we talked about yesterday with Kevin McNamara. And the more you think about it, if you're St. John's fans, you got to be happy with the way the season, a good season, but you got to be a little outraged that the Big East Player of the Year was on the bench for the last, 5 minutes and 25 seconds. The boys on Pat McAfee show praising Travis Hunter to the Patriots, thinking it'll be a good fit. We'll have some audio there as well. Stephen A. also going off on what will be the death of college basketball if we don't get more upsets. Look, it's not going to happen this year unless Arkansas goes all the way as a 10 seed. Time to time, it does happen. Everybody's waiting. Everybody gets mad if a 12 or a 13 or a 14 seed doesn't win. Well, it may happen again. It's not going to happen this year. It's just that simple. So get over it, people. Absolutely get over it. All right, let me see. So, again, as far as the Celtics go last night, they win. They win in Sacramento, 113-95. Kristaps Porzingis.
There's DeRozan on the DHO. Pulls it back. Out to Ellis. Nice look inside. Valanciunas blocked by Porzingis. Gets ready to come into the ball game. Look at the block there on Valanciunas.
Yeah, Porzingis was outstanding last night. Again, 16 boards, 8 rebounds, had a couple of assists, a couple of blocks. And I just love watching this team. I love the give and goes. I love the threes. They are just so complete, and they're so deep. I just don't see how they're going to lose in any playoff series. I just don't see it. Even if they have an off night shooting threes, they just are so deep and so powerful what they can do with the players coming off the bench. And now you have the emergence of Shireman, who really has come on the last, and he was like the 11th man, maybe even the 12th man about a month ago. This guy, the rookie that they stole out of Creighton, is absolutely unbelievable. He has got it, man. 9.7 rebounds last night and an assist in limited minutes. He has been fantastic, and there's another guy that can just drain the three at will. Tatum last night, 25.7 boards, 8 assists before that hard foul by Sabonis and rolling his ankle, but it looks like it's not going to be too serious. I do not expect him to play tomorrow night when the Celtics continue the road trip in Phoenix, but that's okay. This team rests 3 starters, not rest, but there have been times where 3 starters for this reason or that reason have been out, and they've won plenty of games with not 1 starter out, not 2 starters out, but 3 starters out, as they did on Sunday against Portland. So, as I said, Porzingis had 7 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard was unbelievable, scored 20 points. Derek White had 12 and 8 assists for the Celtics. So they absolutely continue to roll. All right, we'll take a quick break. I know Angel has got to get out of here, so let's do that. And when we come back, we'll get into some NFL news. Can't play a lot of video today because Angel won't be here, but I will play the audio portions of a whole bunch of stuff going on, what happened yesterday in the NFL, some college football news to tell you about. The stupid Aaron Rodgers watch is still on. He met with the Steelers the other day for 6 hours and left. I don't know how you come out of there without having a contract. Maybe the Steelers just don't want him. Maybe nobody wants him. I'm keeping that theory alive and kicking. I don't know how you come out of a 6-hour meeting and not have a contract. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know if he's not satisfied or the Steelers just said, we're wasting our time here. But we'll get into that and a whole lot more. Pete Sheppard Show here on a Tuesday, March 25th on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him in the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
From Harris, but not really. Pitch out, now back to Doncic. He'll drive to the baseline. Pump it up. It's rejected by Isaac. And a clock violation on the Lakers. Oh, the minister of defense has come to play tonight. This is looking swing.
Yeah, the Lakers, S-U-C-K, suck. Go away. There's your Laker highlight. It was a magic highlight because they beat them again, 118-106. Lakers are 3-7. Their last 10, fading fast into oblivion. Only people in Bristol think that they moved the needle. But Franz Wagner had 32 points, 8 assists last night. And Paolo Banchero had 37 boards. Orlando clobbers the Lakers, 118-106 last night in Disney World. Luka had 32 and LeBron had 24. So there are you two studs over there with combined 54 points and 13 rebounds, and you still lose by double digits yet again. But people in Bristol think that the Lakers moved the needle. Okay. Bunch of idiots. Absolute bunch of idiots. And they don't lead. They don't put any sound or don't have any highlights of what happened to the Celtics and Jason Tatum last night. Their lead stories today were what happened to Juju Watkins, which I understand, best player in women's college basketball. And I'm not talking about TV. I'm talking about the radio show, because on TV you can't spend a half an hour talking about this because people will click off. It's horrible what happened to her. I feel badly, and I don't want to see any player in any sport go down with an injury like that. It sucks. A half hour on it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Then they go right into the Lakers losing to Orlando. If anybody outside of Los Angeles gives a shit. And then they go into the Aaron Rodgers watch again. I'm telling you, come up with something better than that. There's a lot of other stuff out there. They'd be better off replaying the McAfee show in the morning. At least that is entertaining from the day before. Anyway, thanks for checking us out here on the Coastal Sports Network. Some good audio today from, again, I can't play any video today because Angel is now departed. He is on his way. He's got several big meetings today coming up, so I totally understand that. But I do want to get into some NFL talk, some college football talk. The NCAA basketball and hockey tournaments don't start up again until Thursday, so we'll have more preview coming up tomorrow and Thursday about the Sweet 16 and about the Final 16 for the NCAA hockey tournament. As I said, 6 Hockey East teams leading the way, 8 New England teams in the field of 16, which is absolutely outstanding. In addition to the addition of 6 Hockey East teams, you got Quinnipiac and Bentley University winning the Atlantic. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, let me get to this yesterday from the Patriots' perspective here on the Pat McAfee show. The boys along, who else was on there? Daniel Jeremiah, who's NFL Network, Move the Sticks podcast and works for Chargers Radio. He was on, and they were with Pat McAfee, and they were talking about, I think Ian Rappaport was there as well, or McAfee was on with them, and talking about Travis Hunter being, could be a big part of the Patriots' offense next year.
You think that Travis Hunter at forward of the Patriots playing receiver makes sense value-wise? That's pretty interesting.
I would. I think he's dynamic. I think he'd be their most dynamic weapon on offense, and I think they would have a lot of fun watching those two guys, quarterback and receiver, kind of grow up together. I would be excited about that if I were a Patriot fan and somehow Travis Hunter would be there, and I would be interested when they say Travis Hunter, the Patriots select from Colorado Travis Hunter. Yeah! I would be listening though to say, is it wide receiver? Football player. Is it corner? Is it combo? Like, how are you going to write that on the card? Because the team does get to decide how that's going to be announced. I would be curious. That to me, that would be wide receiver / corner, not the other way around. If you're the Patriots,
dog. He had the dog on his chest.
He did.
You're right. Could be dog. Could be ATH. Yep. Could be WR/CB.
Yeah, it could be anything. And don't forget special teams. Don't forget special teams as well. So I think that's a good thing. I'm getting more and more excited about the idea of Travis Hunter coming to the Patriots. Now, look, they still need help on the offensive line. I know that. But there is something very intriguing about grabbing. And he immediately goes to WR1. He does. He goes to wide receiver 1. I'm becoming more intrigued with the idea of Travis Hunter because I think they have a pretty early pick in the second round as well. You can grab an offensive lineman there. It's going to come down to me. It's either an offensive lineman or you get Travis Hunter, unless somebody wants to trade up, unless they trade the pick. I do want to play this for you as well before I forget. Speaking of the NFL, Asante Samuel, I don't know where he did this. This is on his own webpage, or on his own Twitter account, I should say. He goes off yesterday, and I don't know why, about Deion Sanders. Now, Asante Samuel, while being an above-average cornerback, at times was very good, but I'd say above average is fair, and that's coming from me, a Patriot person, and I think he ended up playing, for Philadelphia and a couple of other teams. But in his prime with the Patriots, I mean, he was a good complimentary cornerback with Ty Law. He did fall down in the Super Bowl in Arizona, and was part of the reason why the Patriots lost. He had a chance to seal the game for the Patriots on another shitty throw from Eli Manning, went right through his hands. That's before the Tyree catch and before what happened, the game-winning touchdown catch as well, where he fell down in the end zone. I believe, or was it Ellis Hobbs? No, I think it was Ellis Hobbs that fell down in the end zone. My bad. But Asante Samuel had a chance to end the game by intercepting Eli Manning. Ball was thrown badly by Eli. I forget who he was throwing it to. Went right through Asante Samuel's hands. That's what a lot of people from my neck of the woods originally going to remember him for. But for some reason, he goes off on Deion Sanders yesterday. I don't know why.
Shannon Sharp, Mr. Shannon Sharp. Y'all think I'm just supposed to sit here and believe that Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Primetime, is the greatest corner to ever live, and basically no one could ever be better than him? That's basically what y'all want me to believe, that he's the greatest corner to ever live, and nobody shows proof of anything in the past, in the history, his stats. You could show some highlights of what he did, and it looks pretty and whatnot. Yeah, I give him that. But y'all want me to believe he's the greatest player to ever live and the greatest cornerback to ever live, and nobody can ever be better than him? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm from Lauderdale. I don't know where everybody else from, but I'm from Lauderdale. We don't get down like that. This ain't about respect. Huh? This ain't about big names.
What?
I'm simply comparing best seasons. And if you want to talk about T-breaks and technique, I'm telling you what the hell the best technique is for everybody.
What?
If you're not T-breaking, you're not getting to the ball faster than anybody else. That's T-breaking. You're probably coming up an inch short because it's a game of inches.
What are you talking about?
Is known for a fact the fastest way to break to the ball. This ain't about names. It's about you proving that he is the greatest without telling me what they said, and he's a lockdown corner, and he
was.
And he locked down the field, and he didn't have a safety in the middle field. Nigga, what? The most interceptions he had in the year is 6 or 7.
Okay, and there's more. The most he had in 6. You know why? You idiot. It's because the people didn't throw the ball to his side of the field. This is an NFL player and a decent, defensive back in his. What the hell are you smoking, Asante Samuel? Why do you think, a lot of these guys that get interceptions are because they're not like Deion Sanders. They're very good cornerbacks, but usually good cornerbacks, the interception rate. I mean, Darrelle Revis was fantastic. Ty Law was fantastic. Revis Island. But there were many times Revis and guys like Ty Law and others could have had 20 interceptions. You know why they don't, Asante? Is because quarterbacks don't throw to them because they are shutdown corners, you idiot.
You understand what I'm saying?
No.
I had 6 or 7 interceptions in a year, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damn times. What we talking about here? I'm talking about comparing numbers and comparing stats. I'm going to make it nice and easy. You can start from my 2006 season to my 2011 season. 5 seasons. I'm going to put up 5 seasons. You do your research on my 5 seasons, and you can pick any season you prefer from Coach Prime Deion Sanders, his whole career. You can pick many seasons you want against my 5 seasons and do your homework. My 5 seasons against his whole career playing cornerback. Yeah, big talk. This big deuce here. Yeah. Don't come in talking about how good somebody was without showing the numbers and the facts, because I could show you that.
Oh, my
God. Let's see what you get. My 5 seasons against his whole career. That's player shit right there. You feel me?
No,
that's player shit.
I don't feel you. You're talking shit,
career,
but I don't feel your shit.
Nobody talk that shit like me, boy. You crazy, boy. Stop being brainwashed. You are.
By the way, the boy is Shannon Sharp.
A lot of folks are. And I'm just here to defend myself because I know I was like that. I was like that. I ended games. I changed the momentum of games.
Not in the Super Bowl, you didn't.
From the beginning to the end. You feel me? Let's make
No, I don't feel you.
Because I noticed he didn't have no playoff touchdowns, and I got 4 of them. I got the record. That means a lot. In big games, and taking your team to the Super Bowl, I'm picking the ball off and taking it back to the
Not in 2007, you didn't.
You're going to side with your boy Deion Sanders just out of mutual respect, and we know Deion would get mad at you if you didn't show him that respect. So that's what you have to do because you can't handle your partner getting mad at you.
Your argument fails, Asante, in so many areas I can't even begin. I can't believe you even have the audacity to compare yourself to Deion Sanders. You're not in the same stratosphere, my friend, not even close. You're on like the 3rd tier of, you can't even compare yourself, not even close to Ty Law, your teammate. You got to put yourself on a different level, and it is a lower level. You know the show that Gordon Ramsay does with Richard Blaze and Tiffany. What's her name? Forgive me. But Next Level Chef, great show. Watch it. It's on like every Thursday. I usually watch it on Fridays. You start at the top floor with the high-end kitchen equipment. Then the middle floor is kind of like, maybe 15 years ago type of equipment. The bottom floor is something you'd see equipment-wise 30 years ago. Sometimes they have bed spatulas and all that stuff. Asante, you're certainly not at the top, and you're not in the middle. You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom. If you were on Next Level Chef, you would be on the bottom level. Okay, that's where you are. The lower third of cornerbacks that ever played. Yeah, you had your moments. You're somewhere between 3 and 2, but you are nowhere near Deion Sanders in any way, shape, or form. He is one of the greatest NFL players of all time, period. When you factor in the entire body of work. For you to bring up interceptions, that's your argument? Because you had a few more interceptions? You know why? That's because quarterbacks thought they could burn your sorry ass at times. And no one is ever going to remember any of those interceptions you had. None of them, except the one you didn't have, which was in the Super Bowl, technically 2008, the 2007 perfect season that you could have ended. Because Eli Manning threw the ball right to you, and you let it go right through your fucking hands. Deion Sanders makes that interception. You didn't. Talking shit. Oh, my God. Please. God almighty. Unbelievable. I'm embarrassed he played for the Patriots to talking crap like that. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, man. What else I have for you? Well, we'll get to the BC. BC had their pro day yesterday. Boston College did. And in fact, we'll get to that in a second. I want to stick some more NFL stuff. Let me scroll up here again. Angel is gone for the day. So some more NFL draft stuff. It's not too much longer. Mario Cristobal from the U, head coach of Miami, on why Cam Ward should be the number 1 overall pick. This again from the NFL Network yesterday.
All 32 teams here, NFL personnel, to see your guys, starting with Cam Ward, your quarterback. Take me here. You get him out of the transfer portal and create a guy who could potentially be the number 1 overall pick in development there. What was that journey like for you as a coach?
That was a long, I would say, intensive journey. One that I think when Cam got a chance to set foot on the campus and saw the type of offensive line we could provide him with and the skilled players to surround him with, he was excited about, but he also had a big decision to make. And, I think everything played out like we wanted to play out for him. He's been nothing beyond or nothing besides exceptional in every part of the word.
Yeah, I've seen him working out already at the pro day before things started, and he seems like he's ready to go. Is there one thing that you've learned about him, practices, games, that maybe the world's going to see now at the NFL stage?
I learned that the bigger the moment, the better he gets. The harder it gets, the better he plays. I've learned that he has a knack for galvanizing people while pushing them and getting the best out of them. His relentless work ethic it's unmatched. I mean, he is a 5:30 a.m., round his guys up, bring himself up there and watch film, put in extra time with the coaches. And he's a guy that just, at the end of the day, good day or bad day, he's going to find a way to get around his guys and make sure they understand that he's got their back. He's a guy that can change the profile, the trajectory of any program, any franchise.
Absolutely. Change the trajectory. That's what teams who are getting Cam want to get out of him. If an NFL coach, a Titans coach or a Giants coach or someone like that came up to you and Mario and said, why should we draft Cam Ward with a top overall pick, what would you tell them?
Well, first I'd ask them if they've watched film at all this year, because if they have, I think it would make things a little bit easier. But I would be completely honest and transparent. He's one of one, and not only as a player, as a person. And again, to watch him on a daily basis attack the processes of being a true professional at the position, attack the process of being an elite teammate and competitor. I mean, I'm talking about every single practice, every rep. There are no wasted downs or no wasted opportunities. And then the other side, the human side, the connection side. He has just an uncommon ability to bring the best out of people and just change things. So I mean, it's been an unbelievable journey with him. You know, you always wish it's more than 1 year, but we can't wait. We can't wait to watch him play on Sundays.
And last one for me, obviously a lot of eyeballs on Cam, but it's a great day for the U because you got a lot of draft prospects here, including his pass catchers, Elijah and Xavier and Sam and Jacoby and Damian. Can you maybe give me an idea of those groups, how they've helped you guys and how they could potentially help an NFL team?
All those guys are going to play on Sundays, and they're all great players. And they've helped change the profile of the University of Miami, because I remember arriving here 3 years ago and being at an event where we were hoping and praying that the draft streak wouldn't get broken, because I think it was deep into the 6th round, early 7th, and someone hadn't been drafted yet. Right. And we're like, well, guys, that's, you know, the draft and the season are mirror images of each other. For us to be successful on draft day, you got to be successful in recruiting and development, and then that's a cycle and a circle that doesn't stop. All those guys you had mentioned, I mean, Elijah Arroyo, Jalen Rivers, Xavier Restrepo, Jacoby George, Francisco Marinoa, Tyler Barron. I mean, I could go on.
Countless, you know. Horton transferred to Alabama, unfortunately.
And this is what more like what a Miami Pro Day should look like. And they're going to impress, because the guys here, you know, I've been blessed by some really good mentors. We have great coaches. The guys here know how to work. And they know how to work their butts off at a really high level and push and grind. So teams are going to be getting a great player and a great person.
All right, Mario Cristobal, head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, and we'll see if Carson Beck is ready to go. He won't be ready to go. I think Mario said yesterday, I was listening to something, and I think Miami's still going to have a spring inter-squad game, I think next week. I think it's next week. But Carson Beck will not be a part of that. Like I said, they've got a whole bunch of great recruits coming in. They got a 6'7", 260-pound tight end coming in. 18 years old. Guy is Godzilla. Wait till you see this kid. His last name is Johnson for the U coming in. Anyway, Rick in Boston, thanks for the kind words. Says, love you, Pete. Wish we had your passion back in Boston for the rebuilds. Red Sox 80% there. Yeah, I hope you're right. 80% means they're going to be competing. Patriots finally offense, the starting line, and the Bruins are done. The Bruins are done. Celtics should have one more title than them. I think a lot more. We're going to get to the Celtics, and we are going to get to Bill and Kim Chisholm, who were in Sacramento last night. Those of you who didn't stay up and watch the game. Celtics should have one more title than them. He says sports talk is terrible or horrible. Give him hell, Pete. I love listening to you. Well, I'm not going to say, look, I have friends at both stations up there, WEI and the Sports Hub. You know, they do what they do. I'm not responsible. What I love about this platform, Rick, and thank you, or Rich, I should say, Rich, is I can do what I want, and nobody can stop me. I'm just telling you like it is. I don't sit here and reach for controversy. I don't get mad because my TV show gets bumped but gets bumped by 45 minutes because the Celtics game ran long. I mean, that kind of bullshit minutia is stuff that I simply do not miss at all. Won't get into it. I mean, there's plenty to talk about in New England sports, but I try to look. I have my New England contingency. I also have what I call obviously my Florida contingency down here, my Big Ten contingency. I mix it up. You know, I don't sit here and do New England sports 24/7. I just get mad. And look, I would have said the same thing. If SGA had gone down last night for Oklahoma City, I would have said the same thing. If they led, but I just don't think ESPN would have led with Juju Watkins if SGA went down last night, or LeBron went down last night, or Doncic went down last night. You know, I just think their priorities in Bristol are crazy, and I don't have to abide by them. Yeah, I play a lot of clips from them, sometimes just to make fun of it. Some of the stuff is intriguing. I'm just saying, the problem with Bristol and national radio, you got the same people saying the same thing morning, noon, and night. It's the same old shit. It's, you know, with Unsportsmanlike in the morning on their national radio show, right into First Take with Greeny, right into Get Up with Greeny, and First Take with Stephen A. It's the same people, same stories over and over again. Starts at 6 a.m, and at least until McAfee comes on. When McAfee comes on, at least you get some wicked, awesome entertainment. Oh, speaking of that, David Portnoy at Barstool Sports. This is unbelievable. I love Dave to death. He's one of my favorite people in the world. I don't talk to him enough. I'd love to get associated with him even more. My buddy Jerry Thornton, who I believe is flying home today back to Boston after vacationing down here for a couple of weeks. But I'm going to try to find the clip. You know, Dave is famous for doing his pizza reviews, right? And they are world famous. Really, they're world famous. He does an unbelievable job. He's very good. He gets millions of hits. He's very creative in everything that he does. There's no question. I have nothing and never will have anything bad to say about David Portnoy or Barstool ever, ever, ever. I think they have some of the most talented people in the country working over there. It's too bad ESPN couldn't be more like them. Trust me, they wouldn't have to give up Major League Baseball. But my bigger point is, one of the episodes on the newest episode of Family Guy, which happened on Sunday. I usually watch him on Monday because it's only 22 minutes. It's my little form of relief. I still think it's brilliant, as I do South Park in a lot of ways. Lois was cleaning out the attic or her old room or something, right? And Lois finds, Lois Griffin. Lois finds an old Easy Bake Oven. And as soon as she leaves the room, Stewie gets all excited. Baby's doing, oh my God, that's it. And yada, yada, yada. He cooks, and Easy Bake Ovens had those old-fashioned little light bulbs. That's all it was putting stuff in, the premix that they had that tasted like chalk. I only know it because my sister used to have it back in the day. But anyway, he made a little pizza. Literally like that big, like almost like a bite-sized nugget. And towards the end of the episode, he announces that David Portnoy was coming to do a pizza review. So Portnoy shows up. I don't believe I'm almost positive it wasn't his voice, but certainly he looked like him. Actually, more of a full beard than he normally has. You usually get that scruffy partway beard. Anyway, so Portnoy comes and does a pizza review of Stewie's Easy Bake Oven little mini pizza. It gives it, just bites it. He was a one biter too because it's that tiny. It gives it a great review. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant by Seth MacFarlane, a Rhode Island School of Design alum and creator of Family Guy. And for Portnoy, now Dave, you've achieved everything. Now you just rose for me. You just went from at the top to beyond the top. You get on Family Guy as a pizza review guy. It doesn't matter. All your other accomplishments, which are unbelievable, this one takes the cake. All your betting that you do when you win so much, you've won millions, and you've helped a lot of people out. You've helped a lot of local businesses out, a lot of small businesses out in so many ways. You're a great entrepreneur, as obviously a great businessman. But that's all over here now. You getting on Family Guy for a pizza review from an Easy Bake Oven, Stewie Pizza, that's it for me. Mic drop, I'm done. There's nothing else you could possibly do except hire me that could supersede that than what I saw on yesterday. It was on Sunday, but absolutely hysterical. And I'm not even going to get it because I can't get the video. We'll get it tomorrow from when Angel is back, and we'll play it for you. All right. But you got to see it. And you can probably YouTube just that clip alone. You don't have to watch it, but it's on. If you have Hulu, it's on demand on Hulu, so it's there. All right, let's take another quick break here on the Coastal Sports Network. Oh, before this is part of the break. A couple of things here. My filing system's all messed up. All right, so. Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So get on down to Phil Castanetti, Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus, Massachusetts. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus, be there. Also want to remind everybody, for the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Rep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. This is the Pete Sheppard Show. We're back, bottom of the hour. Jay Flannelly live from Ann Arbor, and then talking about a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of NFL and a lot of NFL with the Patriots and NFL in general, with Bill Burt of the Eagle Tribune coming up at 9:05. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the 25th of March. It's a Tuesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Within the confines of the game. Thanks for specifying. Tatum! A chance at a 4-point play for the second night in a row. And he hurt his ankle. Concern. Brown and Sabonis are both over there. Oh, he's rolling around, too. This is the last thing the Celtics want to see. See, this is what's so dangerous about going underneath guys like that. You know, in their landing spot. Like, that is not cool.
No, it is not cool. Jason Tatum went down with 3:35 left in the third quarter last night. Luckily, after taking a couple of minutes to gather himself, made 1 out of 2 free throws after the flagrant one was called on Sabonis. And it wasn't a vicious play. It was one of those plays where you landed, you're in the landing zone and all that stuff. It's just unfortunate. We see it from time to time. It happens a lot. They call this a lot. And Tatum looked like, I thought he was done for the year initially. It looked like his ankle was going to be turned around or whatever. It looked a lot worse in slow motion, actually, than it did. But anyway, he's actually probably not going to miss a whole lot of time. He walked off the floor last night. They made the free throws, called timeout. The Celtics did, and they ended up winning easily over Sacramento. But Tatum walked off the floor with very little assistance, but very little assistance. He didn't have any real huge noticeable limp. And after the game, Joe Mazzulla basically said that it doesn't appear to be anyway that he's going to be out for any significant time. But that was absolutely a huge last night in that game. I almost fainted when it happened. It was that bad. So one fear I have is down the stretch here in some of these games, and a lot of them are going to be sort of meaningless because they've already wrapped up the number 2 seed. But the Celtics are so good, it doesn't matter. They can rest 3 starters and still win and still put out a very awesome product to watch. That's the beauty of the Celtics. No other team can do it. No other team can sit down 2 or 3 starters and do what the Celtics do. It seems like they have 11 All-Stars on the bench. And Shireman now is emerging as he's going to be one of the fan favorites. That kid can flat out play. I knew when they got him from Creighton it was going to be a steal. And now we see this last month he has really developed. Not only offensively where he can shoot threes and is okay in a mid-range jump shot. Guy can play some defense too. It's great stuff. Anyway, thanks for checking out the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Following me at PShep326 on X and Twitter, on YouTube, on our Facebook pages, my Facebook, and also the Coastal Sports Network Facebook page, Rumble, Kick, CSN Florida, LinkedIn, and as always, you can text the show 727-858-6650. Can't take calls because Angel. The phone line is at his place in Tampa. I'm down here in Fort Myers, and he is out of meetings today. So can't play any video, but still lots of audio for all of you. Some stuff going on. Lots of NFL news to tell you about with the draft. Everybody's having their pro days. A lot of schools are having their respective pro days. Boston College had theirs. And I'm just checking something out here for a second. Pete Thamel was at to the heights yesterday. Said big scouting contingent at BC Football Pro Day. All 32 NFL teams here to see Ozzy Trapillo, Cam Horsley, Donovan Izriaku, Drew Kendall, and a crew of others, Mike Vrabel, Doug Marrone, and Chris Lindstrom among the boldface names that are there as well. I think we're going to have John Meter Perrell on tomorrow, and we'll get more into this as well. But there was a Ozzy Trapillo, BC High grad, by the way, was asked how he felt running through offensive line drills in front of Mike Vrabel. So here is this young lad talking about that situation.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, it means a lot for all the coaches that showed up. Coach Ryan's done a great job with that connection. So it was cool to have everyone here. Yeah, great opportunity again, just to get in front of as many people as I can, right? I'm living the dream right now, so it's cool.
Have you thought about New England Patriots calling your name?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not allowed to have any bias, right? So I'm putting myself out there. Whoever wants me, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world to just go play the sport.
No question. And Boston College, while they may not have, although Zay Flowers has done very well, but they always put out good offense and defensive linemen. Always have for many, many, many years. All right, more news in the NFL. Let's go to Cam Ward. This is Sirius XM NFL Radio. Cam Ward told them at the Scouting Combine how his journey to the NFL has been unbelievable.
Man, you've seen all America playing football. You've made a lot of moves, and here you make the final move to Miami, and it's worked out pretty well for you. Maybe just talk about that journey and where football is taking you.
Yes, sir. My journey's been unbelievable. Being a zero-star recruit in high school, only having one offer, to, working my way from an FCS all the way to playing on the biggest stage in college football in Miami. And so, God's blessed me, with unbelievable talents. He's blessed me with the work ethic, that I have to this day. And, just going to Miami, being in the locker room with those guys who motivated me every day, the coaching staff who, put me in situations every game to showcase my talents, it's all been full circle. It's been good.
That's great, Cam Ward. He's going to be the number 1 overall pick to the Tennessee Titans, and I hope that he flourishes there because he has absolutely got it. He's going to be a franchise quarterback. I think he's going to be a stud, and I think he's going to do very well from the get-go. Someone not doing very well right now is Aaron Rodgers, and, I hate even talking about him because I'm so sick of him, and it just gets so overhyped. But the fact of the matter is, sounding like Stephen A., the fact of the matter is you spend 6 hours in Pittsburgh and you don't come away with a contract, either they don't want you, which I'm still not discounting, or you're just being, you just added another layer of your flakiness. Is that a word? Because he's flaky. Tom Pelissero, Sirius XM NFL Radio, talked about Aaron's future.
Giants are the other team that continues to wait as of now for Aaron Rodgers. Those two teams have been in it throughout. I would certainly say that the percentages appear to be much better with Pittsburgh. He went in there, like you guys said, he basically took a visit himself, which you don't hear very often. He said, hey, I'm willing to come in to the facility, spent a while with coaches, just kind of a get-to-know-you meeting. They've had parameters in place in Pittsburgh for weeks. It's not going to be a contract thing. It's not going to be a financial thing. With the Giants, there have been ongoing conversations, ongoing dialogue with Aaron Rodgers' agent. But Aaron just, he calls his own shots. That's the thing. Like, my impression from talking to a lot of people involved is that people believe this answer is coming in the near term, maybe even within the next few days here. But one guy can change that, which is Aaron himself. If he's not ready to say, I'm fully, jumping into the water here, then we're going to continue to wait. The question is, how long are the teams willing to wait, especially because you've got, number one, resources that can be spent elsewhere if you're not going to sign Aaron Rodgers, but also, for teams like Pittsburgh, potentially, certainly for the Giants, you've also got Russell Wilson, among others, waiting to find out. At some point, the teams may decide to bail. That just hasn't happened yet.
Well, Tommy, they kind of have. A lot of people have bailed. I don't even like mentioning the fact that the Vikings keep getting brought up here, like somehow Aaron Rodgers' agent might have liked the Vikings. I still can't believe that Minnesota would even consider it, bringing that idiot in there and wrecking that organization. There is no way. I think Aaron Rodgers' camp floated that rumor out there. The Vikings are too smart and too good of an organization for that right now, where they are. They're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. They do not need the zone of darkness coming in and putting a zone of darkness over that franchise. And maybe I'm not speaking for every Minnesota Viking fan, but I'd say 99.9%. I don't know any Vikings fan out there that wants Aaron Rodgers to come and contaminate your organization. I just don't. So I never really counted them. The Giants, they just signed Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis Winston signed the 2-year, $8 million deal. That's backup quarterback money, unless you were the Giants a couple of years ago and they kept Eli around for a ridiculous amount of money to be a backup. Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere to be a backup. I don't know if there's any mystery team out there. Angel and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, whether it's the Arizona Cardinals. Somebody brought up the Miami Dolphins, which was stupid. That ain't happening. There's no way he's going there to be a backup for Tua or an emergency replacement if Tua goes down. Which is probably more likely than not that he is going to get hurt. Tua will. Hopefully he'll be okay. But Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere unless he's going to be a starter. It just isn't. And I don't know what other options he has left after Pittsburgh. I really don't. I think the Giants are out. I do. I think the Giants are absolutely out of the picture. I don't know if there's some other team out there that's going to swoop in. I don't think anybody wants the guy. I've been saying it for 2 weeks, and now I feel even more strongly about it. Besides the Steelers, maybe. I don't know if anybody else wants him. It's just that simple. He ain't worth the hassle. Let's see. Mike Mayock on the Rich Eisen show talked about Aaron Rodgers' decision, how it will impact the NFL draft.
Yeah, the Rodgers thing is pretty amazing. And, you know, you can go back to Brett Favre, and he didn't sign until the middle of August with Minnesota. And obviously, A-Rod certainly remembers all of that.
Yes.
And I'm guessing, again, knowing A-Rod a little bit, but he's a very smart guy. I think he's got a bad taste in his mouth, and he wants to finish the right way. So, you know, from what's available today, that would mean Pittsburgh. However, I'm sure being a smart guy and doing his due diligence with his agents, they're kind of like, what are the chances you're drafting a first-round pick? Am I your starter? If you take a first-round pick at 21, you know, am I going to lose my job halfway through the season? I think Aaron's very cognizant of his place in history and had a bad taste in his mouth the last couple of years and wants to rectify that. So I find that really intriguing. And I find even more intriguing that, you know, really teams are holding spots for him. And, you know, the Giants signed Jameis Winston, but, you know, he signed for backup money, and that's what he is.
I
he
say
might
it here, it
electrify
comes
you
up
here
there.
and there.
And I did not hear
but
that
he's
cut.
a backup quarterback. So, you know, the Giants are in the game. Cleveland has a general manager and a head coach who I respect highly. I think they're both really intelligent men. They've been very quiet. You know, what are they? They're not going in week one with Kenny Pickett under center. So, you know, if we assume Tennessee's taking Cam Ward, you know, the 2-3 documentary starts. Well,
I mean, yeah. And then, I mean, Shedeur Sanders' name is going to be brought up as well. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns definitely could be in play. But I think Aaron Rodgers going to Cleveland or going anywhere, good luck with that. I want him to go to Pittsburgh because I want to see the butting of the heads between him and Tomlin, which there's inevitably will happen. There is no doubt in my mind that will happen. Let's see, some more cuts from going on from various camps around college football having their pro days. Let's see, I got a couple of funny ones. Let me see. Well, here's one on Shedeur. Speaking of Travis Hunter, here is on NFL Network. Lance Zierlein breaking down Travis Hunter and his versatility, and he very well could end up with the Patriots at number 4.
Yeah, it's Travis Hunter. I mean, there's no doubt. This is a guy who's a two-way player. 2,600 snaps over the last 2 years. 2,600 snaps over the last 2 years, which is insane. What makes him special is that he is really, really good at both positions. He was my top-rated wide receiver in this draft. He's my top-rated cornerback in this draft. And what you have is a player with unique instincts as a wide receiver, and that translates over even more so, twofold, as a cornerback, because he recognizes the routes that are run. He recognizes when the ball's in the air, how to attack the ball. And I think that, when you watch Travis Hunter, he's going to be a player who can make big plays on either side of the ball. Now, how are you going to play him? I don't know. My guess is he'll be a full-time corner and a part-time wide receiver. I just know that when it comes to, the ability to make plays on either side of the ball, he's a player that maybe we haven't seen in the NFL since maybe Champ Bailey. And even Champ Bailey only did that for small stretches in his career. So we're truly looking at a very unique, versatile talent here in Travis Hunter.
No question about it. I'm getting more intrigued that he could be a New England Patriot. I know others maybe not want him. They want an offensive line. I get it. They need help. They still need help in a few areas to get back to competing next year with that easy schedule that they have. And I think they will be competing for a playoff spot next year. But, you can the pros and cons of Travis Hunter, you could do a hell of a lot worse than bring the Heisman Trophy winner to your team. I'm becoming more intrigued with that idea. We'll talk with Jay Flanley and Bill Bird about it as well, coming up at the bottom of the hour and the top of next hour. More from Cam Ward, by the way, the Miami quarterback who's going to be number 1 overall in Tennessee, about he recaps his performance at the Miami Pro Day.
And you were just talking about how many pro days you watch going forward. Mm-hmm. When does it sink in that you were the front-facing member of this draft class, this moment, given all the journey you've had to get here?
I never really thought about it, honestly. And I'm just blessed to be in a position for all 32 teams to be here, not only for myself but for my teammates. I've been blessed, and so it hasn't sunk in yet, but I'm excited for the future.
I was talking to Sam Brown, during the workout, and everybody makes this out to be a big production, but he's like, we do this after practice every day. Did it almost feel like that at some point? Like obviously the guys, want to put on a good show, you want to perform, but did it feel like this is our routine? Yeah,
this was practice for us. That's why you seen 2 or 3 reloads. We would get it right back, like what we did at practice throughout the season. So
if you miss a throw or the receiver doesn't get there,
if they don't like how their route was, we getting it back at the end of practice.
Yeah, got to get it right.
So that's just always our mindset as us as a whole quarterback and receiver room. And I was just surrounded by a great group of guys, from JG to Sheppard, Sam, Elijah, Cam. But the script. It was a good script because it was stuff that, I did a lot of during the season. So really, I'm just imitating plays I already did in my mind. I'm thinking more of first and second down, third down scenarios. That's why we had some motions on there. And I'm just going through game time stuff. I'm not really thinking about, throwing this specific route and this drop. To me, it's just all game things.
There was a throw that you did on.
All right, that's Cam Ward. I do want to get this and also going to pivot a little bit back to the Celtics and the sale. $6.1 billion by Bill Chisholm, local guy, big business guy, obviously. He was in Sacramento last night. I can't play the video, but we're going to play the audio. Bill and his lovely wife, Kim. We'll get to Kim's comments in a second. But Bill talked about describing to Abby Chin last night during the broadcast what it's been like for him since purchasing the Celtics.
I mean, honestly, it's emotional for me. I mean, this is as a kid growing up in New England to dreaming about. I didn't even know to dream about this, and then to have it happen, it was really emotional. And share it with my family, and shout out to my kids, our kids, Will, Aiden, and Quentin. But just really special and emotional, and I understand what this is about and what it means to the people of Boston, because I'm one of them, and I'm gonna do it right.
I love that. I mean, saying all the right things, and we know that Wick Grossbeck is still going to be running the organization for the next 3 years. I don't know how much pressure Wick is going to be under to try to break up parts of this team, because it's going to be very, very difficult for the Celtics. It's a business to make a profit. The fans are going to hate it, but I'm telling you, probably get ready for a couple of guys it might look a little different next year, despite the fact that they re-signed just about everybody they needed to re-sign for multi-year deals. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. He seems like a good guy. Sounds like Robert Kraft when he brought the Patriots and everything else. Of course, this is a much different situation. He's inheriting the world champions and may very well be back-to-back. Now, what is also interesting in this interview that happened last night with Abby is that Kimberly Chisholm, Bill Chisholm's wife, is a huge Celtics fan. She also has an obsession. Is this a tad creepy? Maybe not. Maybe I bring too much into this. But anyway, maybe it's just because it's the thrill of owning the team. Being the wife of the owner owns the team. Here's Kim Chisholm.
Kimberly, what were your first impressions of Joe Mazzulla? Oh, I mean, it's actually weird because I said at some point, like, Bill, you need to tell Joe that I'm obsessed with him. And he goes, that would actually be a little weird. But I am, because he's doing such an incredible job and he has such an intensity. But he has a way, I mean, honestly, he's very funny. And he has a way of interfacing that I'm always waiting for what's going to come next. But he's just an incredible visionary, really. And we love Brad Stevens as a coach, so it was really, I was a little like, whoa, like we love our Brad. So it was big shoes to fill, but I was very, very happy to get to know him better.
All right, a little blathering there. But anyway, she's obsessed with Joe Mazzulla, Abby Chin. The problem I have also with the Celtics broadcast on NBC Boston is first of all, Abby replaced my buddy Greg Dickerson, which never should have happened. And not that she doesn't do an okay job. I don't really blame her. But she sometimes does these 2 to 3 minute interviews during the game when it's going on. It's ridiculous. Take that shit, play it at halftime. Don't disrupt the flow of the game. Because they miss a lot of it. But there you go. There you have it. Back to college basketball before Jay Flannelly joins us. There's still a lot of controversy about Rick Pitino and him benching R.J. Lewis Jr. Oh, by the way, before we get to that, I got to play this. This because I'll forget. And this happened, I believe, last Thursday or Friday. Whenever Bryant was playing, I think it was Saturday night. Bryant was playing University, Little Smithfield, Rhode Island, was playing Michigan in the first round. No, not Michigan. I'm sorry. In the first round of the NCAA tournament, and they cut to Chuck. Oh, I gotta find it. God bless it. Okay, there we go. They cut to Chuck right in the studio, and this happened over the week. That's why I didn't play it. I forgot that this happened. I was watching this live. They cut to him to comment on the Illinois-Kentucky game. This was over the weekend. And they asked him about it. Here's what Chuck had to say. They cut to him.
To AT&T at the half. Ernie Johnson, Clark Kellogg, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. Biggest takeaway from the first half?
Well, I think that's a good question.
Thank you very much.
That's his job. Totally his job.
I that came out of left field for you.
Would you expect Ernie not to ask you anything? Would you expect him to sit here and just let you?
Just look at you.
I was you know the game I'm watching. I'm watching Bryant against MSU.
You can't watch more than one game at a time. You watch all these TV shows at one time.
That's at night, man. This is at night. They're not all at the same time, man. One after the other. Ernie, I'm not gonna lie. I was paying attention to the Bryant score. So get at the Clark or Kenneth, please.
Kenny, you got. That is priceless. Yeah, I'll take first. Yeah, that's a first. I wasn't watching. That's somebody else. He's a man of many firsts, by the way.
At least he's honest. I wasn't watching. Oh, my goodness. Absolutely hysterical. I wasn't watching. Look, I don't think Charles watches a lot of college basketball. Everybody knows that. He's only there for show on the whole. He guaranteed Arizona was going to win or get to the Final Four. Meanwhile, more controversy on ESPN, and rightly so, about R.J. Lewis being benched at the end, and Pitino's reasoning behind it and questioning the reporters. So here's the boys yesterday on First Take talking about it.
How would he know? Stephen, I agree with you. How would he know? How would he know? You're the head coach. The Big East Player of the Year is sitting the last 5 minutes. I don't care if he was 3 or 33. He's still your best player. He still gives you the best opportunity to win this game. And you saw him. And when the reporter asked you, you act like you had an issue with him. It wasn't his fault that not only did Luis not play well, nobody played well. And it's almost like, and that's the reporter's job, Stephen, and your job is to come in. Whether you win, lose, or draw, is to ask a question. Well, the best player on your team, he sat the last 5 minutes. Dang, what's really going on? Because we've seen guys struggle shooting the basketball and still catch fire the last minute and a half, and you win the game. I don't think it was a leading question. I think it was a question that was asked in the proper context, and I think it deserved to be answered. I think Coach Pitino was upset because he thought he had a superior team, and he didn't, and it didn't get it done. But just because a guy's struggling from the floor, I wouldn't have benched him. I don't care if he played 30 minutes. It's a 40-minute ball game. And most of these college guys, Stephen A., unless it's a blowout, they're going to play 35, 36 minutes in a ball game. And a lot of times, Booze, you know, having played college basketball, if it's a close game, hell, you might play the whole 40 minutes. Why not? You're only 19, 20 years old. You can't get tired. So I disagree with everything Coach Pitino said. I'm lower on him for that. I'm even lower after having an explanation of why he benched up.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. R.J. Lewis Jr. should have been on the floor because I know he was 3 for 17. He had made 3 or 4 free throws, but that was it. It was 3 for 17 from the floor. He couldn't shoot threes. St. John's as a whole, I think, shot 8% from 3 and 28% overall. You're not, and they're not a very good free throw shooting team. They're not a very good shooting team. They've been able to overcome that over the last this whole season, basically, because during close games with 6 minutes to go, they ended up blowing people out or finding ways to win. But that did not happen against Arkansas and John Calipari's squad over the weekend. And I think Rick Pitino's answer was lame. I really do. Surprised that it wasn't more. Anyway, let's see what else before Jay comes on. All right, let's go to Bill O'Brien, head coach of the Boston College Eagles. BC had their day yesterday, their pro day, and Bill O'Brien talking about how he and Mike Vrabel are very close.
Yeah. I mean, that to me, like, it's almost it's a great question. It's an easy question for me because Ozzie is the type of guy who is just the same guy every day. Never misses practice. Very tough, very talented, very smart. He's got a master's degree from Boston College. Be excellent in the locker room. He'll do whatever the coach asks him to do. He'll play right tackle, he'll play left tackle, he'll play guard if you want him to. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. He always puts the team first, and I think that's, some of the things that I think Mike's probably looking for. I'm not telling Mike who to draft, but I don't think he can go wrong with Ozzie Trapillo. Ozzie Trapillo will be a great pro.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's Bill O'Brien, head coach of Boston College. They had their pro day yesterday. I had a whole bunch of scouts there from all 32 teams. Ozzie Trapillo, the offensive tackle, great offensive tackle for Boston College, and versatile too. And there's nothing better. The coaches in the NFL love versatility. There is no question about it. They love versatility. All right, Jay Flanagan going to join me, popping on in just a second or two. And I'm sure he will have a lot to say about that as well, because he's a big trenches guy. And I know he knows Bill O'Brien and knows the entire situation. There's one thing about Boston College football over the years. I mean, decades. They have always put out absolute great offense and defensive linemen. One other cut that was funny from one of the camps yesterday, and I'm trying to find which one it was, but Matt Castle, played for the Patriots, shared a story from his rookie year about Doug Flutie and the drop kick versus Miami.
Tell me about Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie. When I showed up to New England, he's 41 years old. And I'll never forget, I come in the first day, I'm coming in as a rookie, I'm walking up, and he pulls up in like an old school Trans Am with an eagle on the front. He lived in the 1980s, dude. He loved every sport. He played in pickup basketball. He played in a hardball baseball league at 41 in the offseason. And I'll never forget it was the end of the year that year. We're playing Miami at home, and I got to play for 3 quarters, and the crowd was getting frustrated because they wanted to see Flutie. Flutie could do this thing called the drop kick, and it hadn't been done for God knows how long. And we go down, and I throw my first touchdown pass of my career to Tim Dwight on a little return route. He falls in. Well, Doug Flutie runs on the field, and he's going to do this drop kick. Doug lines up behind the center in a shotgun snap, and everybody is going wild.
We'll be out there in a very strange formation, trying for 2.
And the defense doesn't know what to think because we're in a field goal formation with just Flutie back there, and he drops it, hits the ground, kicks it through the uprights for a PAT. It's like Super Bowl winning type stuff. The crowd is all, now I come back out for the next series for the 2-minute drill, and they're booing. They're so pissed off that Doug Flutie is not back in the game. It was great, but he was a great teammate. I mean, I will say in meetings, we'd be going through the game plan sometimes, and after Brady would get done going through his favorites, they'd get to Flutie, and they'd be like, all right, so if you get in there or if something happens, what do you want me to start? He's like, look, just block it up and call who goes. I'll make it work. And he was just that kind of dude. I was laughing my ass off, though. He was a funny dude.
Yeah, interesting. I remember that. I think the Patriots lost that game. It was the last game of the year. They'd already clinched the spot. I remember when Flutie made that drop kick, and I was there for that. Belichick acted like they won the Super Bowl. He was as jovial as you'd ever see a coach. It was absolutely classic Flutie. Classic Flutie. The thing about Doug is, and I know him a little bit, playing in his wonderful tournaments for years. He had great tournaments every year for autism. And if you ask him the greatest play of his career, his life, he will not tell you the Hail Mary pass in '84 against Miami. He will not tell you about the drop kick, although that might be second on his list. He will tell you about the game-winning field goal, I believe 44 yards in a mini blizzard in the snow in his high school championship game that he made to win the state championship. So that's the one Doug Flutie story I could tell you. He will not. You ask him about the greatest play. The drop kick, what you just played, might be the second. His field goal kick in his high school championship game back in the day of 44 yards in the snow is the biggest highlight he will tell you about. He won't tell you about the Hail Mary against Miami. He'll tell you about the kick. Speaking of Hail Marys, we hail Jay. All hail. Hail to the dun, 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 dun. It is Jay Planley live from Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the Wolverines are headed, as predicted by me, to the Sweet 16. Good morning, Jay. How are you, young man? How are things up there, up yonder? Oh no, we can't hear Jay. Do you have your mic muted? Oh no. We had this problem. See, it's not on my end, and Angel's not here, so your mic is not muted. I see you fine, Jay. I see you fine. I cannot hear you. Okay, hang on. You want to try and reset? I don't know if that's the case. It's just we had some audio issues yesterday with playing video, since you are video on Angel's end. I thought this was corrected. Try to reload, back out and try to reload, and we'll see. If not, we're just going to have to. Damn it.
Hold on.
Oh, there you go. I hear you now.
I just fixed it. That was me. I got it. Hold on.
okay.
I'm coming. I'm back. So before I screwed up things on my end, I've never watched less college basketball in my life during a year, and I got the entire Final Four left. So there's this. I'm like those women at the office that don't watch the games, they just pick names and uniforms, and they like this. Yeah. They all pick Gonzaga because that name's cool.
A lot of guys do that too. They just hide it better. A lot of guys do that too.
Yeah. So.
Well, you should. I mean, look, the best team is still Florida. I knew UConn would give them a game. Look, I watch a lot of college basketball, and my final, I'm happy to say I'm in the top 89.3%. I do one bracket, Jay. That's it. I'm not one of these people that fills out 80 fucking brackets. I did one. I'm in the top 89 point. The ESPN wanted. I'm in the 89.3 percentile, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of other people are with me, but I am proud to say that I have 12 of my Sweet 16 teams in. A bunch of Elite Eight teams, and all my Final Four teams are still there. The one team I was always concerned about was Tennessee, because Rick Barnes has had a habit for a while, not the last couple of years, but now he's about losing in the first or second round. As great a coach as he is, he's had some. But anyway, we digress. So what's the mood up there? For you guys? I mean, I'm sure everybody's got a thrilling game, and I'm sure everybody stayed. Well, it actually wasn't as late for you guys with the hour difference, but thrilling game over the weekend. Both of them, great stuff by Michigan. Great job.
Yeah, and we started spring football last week, so I think people are fired up. The funny thing about this, and you saw Calipari talking about this on Sunday. the transfer portal is open, and Scottie Pippen's son, who's on our team, already went in it.
Yeah.
So it's so poorly run by the NCAA.
I was going to get into that with you. The whole thing, it's got to stop. It absolutely has to stop. Coaches leaving and admitting on the air.
Well, coaches leaving isn't a new thing, but yeah, the coaches.
But admitting now they're admitting it as it's happening. Coach, now they're admitting and they're taking. My players are coming with me. Yeah. It's just there's got to be some contractual obligations with this no money. That's my one pet peeve. In all the sports, they've got to get a grip with some of this stuff. Otherwise, it's already a little chaotic. I don't mind a little chaos, but I want the contracts for these players. It's
that's
not
supposed to happen April 7th. So that's you and I both know about this. The NCAA thing's coming down, I believe, April 7th. So we'll have an idea. But what you're going to have happen, Pete, and you've already seen it with the mid-majors and the Cinderella teams all being waxed out. Because, back in the day when UMass got good with Lou Rowe and Marcus Camby and all those guys, that's the type of program that'll be rated by the Kansases, the Dukes, the North Carolinas. They will take their best players and then make them their seventh or eighth man.
Yeah, it's the G League. It's the G League syndrome. You're going to become the mid-majors are going to become not everybody, but a lot of them is going to become the G League. And the mid-majors what made it so great at tournament time is because those guys were together for 3-4 years. And there was some camaraderie there. It was very different. Sometimes that's why the upsets would happen with the. Now I'm not going crazy about it. Stephen A., who I don't think watches a whole hell of a lot of college basketball, went off yesterday about if we don't get any upsets more. Look, last year, NC State was I think a 10 seed. They made it to the Final Four. This year, it wasn't meant to be. I mean, Arkansas is the lowest seed left at a 10. Well, it's a 10.
They beat a very flawed St. John's team who can't shoot.
Yeah, they can't shoot for shit, but they've gotten away with it all year because when clutch time came, they got it done. But you cannot shoot 8% from three. You can't miss a whole bunch of free throws, and you can't shoot 28% overall. When it got to 62-60, though, Jay, I thought they were going to pull away. But Lewis sitting on the bench for the last 5 minutes, Rick Pitino, who I still do respect a lot. There's still a soft spot in my heart for him. That's a major screw up. And the way he handled his press conference afterwards with the reporter. I know Lewis was 3 for 17 shooting. He made 3 or 4 free throws. That was the one good thing. Couldn't shoot threes. But you can't have the Big East Player of the Year on the bench the last 5 minutes of the game. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Louis would sit Chris Mullen with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, if Mullen was 3 for 17, he would not have sat because
Chris Mullen would have been 3 for 17, but that's
his little brother. I hated little Mullen. A little Mullen was
so I went to school with. Be nice.
He might have shot 3 for 17. But anyway, getting real quick before we get to football because there's so much I want to talk about in the 18 minutes that we have. So Michigan and Auburn coming up in Atlanta. They're 8.5-point underdogs, but a huge challenge for Coach May. He's done an amazing job. He's going to be right up there with Pitino for Coach of the Year, in my opinion. But we'll see. Bruce Pearl against him. That's going to be. I can't wait for that. It's going to be Friday at 9:39 on CBS. So, what's the vibe up there? Good. Everybody excited?
No, everybody's fired up because the Red Wings are falling apart, and I don't know what the Tigers are going to be. They don't know who half their players are going to be. They got a lot of injuries. No, I think this was a surprise year, and brought up the Coach of the Year thing. I mean, St. John's was okay in year one with Pitino. They almost made the NCAA. Last year, Michigan was 8-24. Juwan got fired. Yeah. There's very few guys left from the team. Will Shatter is about the only guy who plays.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's like the 7th or 8th man. So, just a really tremendous job. I mean, you told me how good Coach May was. I had people everywhere. I mean, Kathy's more into the college basketball than I am, but this guy's done a phenomenal job. And wait till he gets his own players. And the Scottie Pippen Juniors of the world that want to leave. Let them. There's the highway. Get on it. It is what it is. The way it's set up is terrible. I mean, what J.J. Watt said is beautiful. But like the NFL having free agency during Wild Card Weekend, and that's a great analogy, by the way. Can you imagine you're playing getting ready to play the Kansas City Chiefs. You're Josh Allen, and somebody comes and signs Shakur away or Matt Miliano or something like that. That's what this is, and it's stupid. But again, this is why the NCAA is collapsing. There's no governing body there. We got NIL and all the nonsense people running around and taking jobs. Women's hoop. Molly Miller going from Grand Canyon, but that's a huge upgrade for her, going from the old, whatever the hell league Grand Canyon's in, and she's going to now Arizona State, which is an old Pac-12 team. They're now in the Big 12, excuse me.
Yeah.
So that type of thing's going to happen. We've had, the Minnesota coach. There's some other ones that have Texas.
It's crazy. DeVere's with his son moving on. How about Archie Miller last night? Or Sean Miller? I beat Texas. Well, I guess I'll if you can't beat them, join them. Well, I did beat you, and now I'm going to join you. So bye-bye, Xavier. Hello, Texas. Here comes Sean Miller.
Well, I mean, that's – yeah, but that's –
But I think it's the irony. And I'm sure, obviously, there was some negotiations going on a couple weeks ago.
Really? No way. Really? Like the Indiana job. They were talking to the West Virginia guy for like 5 months.
Well, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous. But anyway, all right, let's get into the NFL. You had, let's see, Tannenbaum, who I don't really trust anything that comes out of his mouth as from the failed GM that he was.
Mr. T, as
his mock draft later, Cam Ward, I think Cam Ward, it certainly seems, and rightly so, he's going to be the number 1 pick in Miami. He's got Travis Hunter going to Cleveland with pick number 2. And all of this, again, can revolve around the idiot Aaron Rodgers. And I'm still convinced today. I'm still convinced, as I told you last week, I've been saying it for about 3 weeks now. I don't know. First of all, I don't know how you come out of Pittsburgh at a 6-hour meeting without a contract. Either the Steelers said, fuck you.
I do.
Or he did.
I do.
Or he's so flaky, he adds another layer to the flakiness. Or, because he's out of options. He's out of options. You want to throw the Giants in there? Maybe the Cleveland Browns?
No.
I can't I still want him to go to Pittsburgh because I want to see him and Mike Tomlin. Great for us. But how do you come out of a 6-hour meeting the other day with no contract if you're Aaron Rodgers, except if you add another layer of flakiness to his already flaky body?
No, I don't think he knows if he wants to play. So if you're the Steelers, why you trying to marry a woman who doesn't even want to date you, basically, is what's going on here. I mean, it's just – well,
I'm kidding.
No, and by the way, I don't think his money's going to be that great.
No. Retirement is what I brought up too. That's got to be on. That's got to be on the table for him. Maybe the Steelers aren't entirely convinced that he's not going to retire.
That's my point. But there's one other problem, and this came out yesterday. Kirk Cousins has said he will waive his no trade after the draft. So things will happen after the draft. Not to make light of it or bring this up out of the blue. Obviously, Kathy's a huge 49ers fan, my business partner. They could trade Brock Purdy. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Oh, absolutely. No, we talked about that. That's you're absolutely right. Great point. That's absolutely on the table. There's no doubt about it.
And then that's where Aaron Rodgers will go.
Come to California, blah, blah, blah.
And Kathy will be texting and calling me every 5 minutes, begging for me to go do something and get rid of the city and offer 49ers. So, I mean, because that's, first of all, here's the thing, that if you watch the 49ers, you watch Kyle Shanahan, he wants to run the ball. He's never going to throw the ball 40 to 50 times with numb nuts. And on top of that, they let Dabo go. They're going to trade Ayuk. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
And their best, they got Juwan Jennings. He's never faced or second or third, nothing but second and third corners at the most. He's going to get number ones now. That's a huge change. George Kittle had a great year last year, but again, he's an inline tight end. They don't do the wide out Tony Gonzalez crap with him much. Or Travis Kelce when he's not sucking in the Super Bowl. I think the whole A-Rod thing is just a joke. That's why I think I like what the Giants did, bringing in Jameis. So I think, is he Dan Marino? No. But he's a good NFL starter with talent around him. He's going to make mistakes, but who did the Giants have at QB? And now they don't necessarily have to draft a QB at 3. I think they will. or they could trade up or down and move things around. But we'll see.
Tannenbaum has been taking Shadur Sanders at 3.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
I don't think the
he's
Browns
not
are going
the
to
only
take Travis Hunter, by the way. The Browns are going to take Abdul Carter and pair him with Myles Jarrett. That's the most obvious. I mean, hello, ring, ring. Are you paying it? Why do you think Myles Jarrett stayed there besides a bunch of Benjamins? But they're getting him help. You know, that's
there's no question. He's got the Patriots taking the guard from Missouri, Amand Membu.
Oh my God, no!
Absolutely not. That's Tannenbaum for him. That's why he's not a GM. And if I've heard some horror stories about him, particularly when he was with Miami, about certain footballology that he just didn't know. Certain things, certain terminology that he just could not comprehend. And, anything that comes out of his mouth, I'm sure he's a nice man. I've never met him personally. I'm sure he's a nice man, but I don't trust a lot of stuff. When it comes to draft and analysis of players, I take what he says with a grain of salt.
Well, if you remember, he's basically hired like as an office intern by Parcells.
Yeah.
And then he elevated him, and I think he was like a cap guy. Because I think he was in like law school or something when
I forget. You're right.
Yeah.
He's not
really a football guy.
Yeah.
No, when I say capologist, like he does the accounting. He's not like
does the books.
Like he would be the guy to explain to the Cincinnati Bengals, hey, you just signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You might want to prorate these deals instead of not prorating them. Because the reason why you sign guys to long-term deals is to spread the money out. Why pay off a credit card over 3 years? You can pay it over 5. But no, the Bengals don't do this. And instead of lowering the cap hits for those two guys, they've made their cap situation worse. That's why Trey Hendrickson is going to shoot his way out of town.
He's got Abdul Carter going to Penn State. He did go to Penn State, going to Jacksonville. If his little draft order falls into place, I still think besides what could happen with Aaron Rodgers maybe affecting the draft is the Travis Hunter thing. I am becoming, I must say, a little more intrigued with it. I still would rather the Patriots take a big-time offensive lineman.
But there's none there, Pete. There's nobody there.
I know. But I'm becoming more intrigued with the possibility of the Patriots getting Travis Hunter. That's if Cleveland that's if the Cleveland Browns don't take him according to this mock draft. Could be very interesting. But overall, I know we've shared some thoughts about would it be the worst thing in the world, or would it be a good thing for the Patriots, in your opinion, to take Travis Hunter?
It'd be a good thing because he fits a major need they have. And again, you play with what's there. You know, I would love Anthony Munoz, Tony Baselli, or Orlando Pace to be there. They're not there. And even if the Patriots did, they should have done and lost the last game and had the first pick, they'd probably be taking Abdul Carter.
Yes. No doubt in my mind.
So that's what they're at. They have two major needs as of today. Now they could go out and sign Stephon Diggs, but again, he's a 1 or a 2. If you have another good player with him, he makes them better. There's no obvious left tackle. Again, I like.
Let me get back to Diggs for a second. Do you think they should have made a better effort to get? I mean, the injury. How injury prone is he? Diva, I know he's got talent, but what's left in the tank with him? Should they? I'm not heartbroken that they didn't get him.
I think the hidden story here and what they're not talking about is I think they're in on Ayuk, and the 49ers for cap reasons have to trade him by the 1st of April, and that's been out there too. He's owed money, and so if it's April 1st through the 5th, they owe him money. So I think he's going to get traded. You're seeing the Cleveland team come up again. I mean, why would he go to Cleveland instead of the Patriots? They're both bad. They're both bad, except the Patriots have a better quarterback and a better ownership group.
Cleveland might have a quarterback if they draft Shadur, but they don't have anybody now.
Well, you want to go someplace and you don't know who's going to be there. You know, if you call Denzel Washington and say, "Hey, we're going to put you in a movie," and then he asks, "Well, who the hell's in it?" And they say, "Oh, we don't know. We'll figure it out." And then he shows up and it's Carrot Top. I mean, it's. Hey,
I got to interview Carrot Top at the Super Bowl in Vegas a couple of years ago. He's big. He is big in Vegas. He's got a nightly show, and I never found him particularly funny, but he was actually very good when he
He's
got the
actually
interview.
laughing all the way to the bank with just his Wendy's jokes, and because he looks like Wendy from Wendy's.
Oh yeah.
No, but I mean, Denzel Washington would be expecting Tom Hanks or Julia Roberts or somebody like that, and he's showing up with this. But no, I mean, it is what it is. That's why when you're in the free agency and you should pick good organizations and go places. But sometimes things turn around. Look how bad the Lions were, and they brought in Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and Jared Goff trade and all the other things happen, and they're great now. And Commanders last year, they changed. They bring in a good owner. Who's not named Dan Snyder, Dan Quinn, and then obviously Jaden Daniels, and they hit on a lot of their mid-level free agents and trade moves like what the Patriots are trying to do. So we'll see. But again, I think there's a market for them to get a decent receiver and then maybe draft and double down and find one in the draft. It's a good draft. Your boy from Miami just finished his 40 time, Pete. Holy Christ, almost 5. I like if I was the Patriots, instead of doing Diggs or somebody at that level right now, I would call Tyron Smith from Dallas and the Jets and offer him $20 million for 1 year. Fully guaranteed. And he's your left tackle. And then you can draft and develop somebody else in the second round or third round, and then you go and you get somebody left on the wide receiver room. I would have liked them to done Cooks, but he just signed. Maybe Tyler Lockett, somebody like that that's out there. There will be people on the market you can find that they need an adult in the room type of wide receiver.
No, I agree. There'll be a lot of cuts coming up. A couple minutes left here, Jay.
That's the other thing. It's a good point. There'll be cuts around the draft. People reworking their money.
I'm looking at what's left of free agency here. Would the Patriots ever re-sign Matthew Judon, who was so instrumental here for a few years? No.
Well, they might have a better chance because Vrabel's here now. He had a big blow up with Belichick, but I think they have that guy. That's Harold Landry.
Yeah,
that's.
But it can never have to me. It can never have too much depth, and maybe they could grab him again for cheap money, or
But
not
he was a bad influence in training camp. It was embarrassing, and that was one of the few times I sided with Belichick lately. I just didn't like it.
No,
and didn't he also get hurt again on Atlanta?
Yeah, he did. He did. But man, was he when he was playing, man, he was a force.
Oh yeah, he was a good player, of course. Don't insult me with Stephon Gilmore either, who's never somebody I really liked. Anyways, don't bring him up.
Oh, that's what I agree. I'm not gonna bring him up. I know.
I see him giving up that touchdown to Gesicki at the end of the Miami game in 19, where the Patriots lost home field.
Yeah,
I
know. I hear
pisses me off. He sucked in that game.
I play Audrey, the Boston College Eagles had their pro day yesterday as well, like a whole bunch of other schools. So
my agent Brad Blank had 2 of his star players there.
Well, do tell which one. But Ozzie Trapillo,
there's one of them.
Lineman, I would love the Patriots to grab him. He's not being talked about enough. One thing, BC over the decade, the last few, they put out great people in the trenches, offensive and defensive linemen. So I'm very high on Ozzie Trapillo. I would love for the Patriots to grab him if they could.
He's going to go. I was texting with BB last night. He's going to go in the first 3 rounds, so the second day more likely. The other guy, and his dad was high school player of the year, my senior year in high school, a long time ago, 1990. Pete Kendall, that's Drew Kendall, the son.
Oh yeah.
So he would be another guy with the David Andrews thing, which by the way the Patriots mismanaged.
But that was more of a health thing. Wasn't that more of a health thing? The shoulder injury. I don't know.
No, okay, let's do this then. Why the hell's Barmore on the team? The guy's got blood clots in his lungs.
I know. I agree.
Seriously, be consistent on things.
But he's young. But he's younger, and it looks like
I know. Well, I'll tell you why he's a better player.
Ready to go, right? I think Barmore's going to be ready to go. I hope.
But you would think they would treat David Andrews better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's David Andrews for Pete's sakes.
Yeah, I know that. But you get stuck with sentimentality, then you become the Giants. You hang on to guys like Eli Manning 2 years too long, and you're getting salary cap. Look, I'm not going to go crazy with them over that particular move. Some others in the past, no question. All right. Before
Let me ask you a question, Pete, real quick about the Patriots. Am I missing something, or do they need another running back? I mean, Ramondre Stevenson did not have a good year last year. He fumbled a lot, and they want to run the ball and play defense.
Yeah, but I also don't want to see them take Genty either in the first round.
Oh, no. If they do that, I'm out the window. I won't be on Tuesday. I'll be out the window.
Running backs to me, besides Saquon Barkley, maybe one or two, or a dime a dozen. So I'll take if you have a decent offensive line. They have tried. I mean, they've had, how many times have we seen the Patriots over the years use 2, 3, 4 running backs in a game? And whoever's hot is hot. So I'm not too concerned about it. But anyway.
Outside of the Corey Dillon team in 2004, almost every team they've had. The last Super Bowl team was Burkhead, Deion Lewis, and James White.
Yep. And they're all good, and they're all different, and you rotate them in and out, and we really screwed up defenses because they all brought. And before that, with White, with Woodhead and
Kevin Falk.
I mean,
Shane Vereen.
Shane Vereen.
Garrett, Blunt. I mean, And I think there's been a comeback, Pete, with the league, and you saw, King Henry and McCaffrey when he's healthy. It's interesting, and I think it's a position where you can get real value because everybody plays spread. So there's less fullbacks and tight ends that can block in the game. So you got the slot receiver. So that means the nickel dime format defenses are in. So smaller run defense guys, the Chris Spielman, Ted Johnson types are taken out of the game. So it's easier for the draw trap game and the quick runs, the stuff that Barry Sanders used to do out of the run and shoot, and Thurman Thomas with the K gun with the Bills. But it is what it is, but we'll see. But I think that's another hidden need for the Patriots. And this is a great, let me emphasize, great running back draft. And I like Genty. I think he's going to the Raiders, by the way. But I think he might be an exception. But the problem with him is he played in a bad league. And you got the Arizona State kid. You got the 2 Ohio State backs. You got Michigan's running back who had a great year, Mullings. There's a lot of good running backs out there, and I think it's a need the Patriots will address in the draft.
Jay, great stuff as always. Thank you, kind sir. Always a pleasure. Good luck to the Wolverines against Auburn, although I have Auburn in the Final Four. But nevertheless, I'm sure you'll be watching. Everybody's going to be watching come Friday at
Thursday
night.
You can do on a Friday night, Pete. Come on, man.
Exactly.
No.
All right, Jay. Best of luck and continued success. We'll talk soon. We'll talk next week. Absolutely. If not,
talk to you later, brother. Have a good week, Pete. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, Jay Planley from Beeves World up in Ann Arbor. Quick break. Then Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune will join us here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Final segment on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Within the confines of the game.
Thanks for specifying. Tatum, a chance at a 4-point play for the second night in a row. And he hurt his ankle. Concern. Brown and Sabonis are both over there.
Oh, he's rolling around, too.
This is the last thing the Celtics want to see.
Well, Bill Burt from the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, the Eagle Tribune, I should say. I don't know if you heard me scream last night. I know I woke my wife up when it happened because she was in bed. It was around midnight when it happened. Thank goodness it looks like he's only going to miss, hopefully, only a couple of games. But what a scary moment last night, because when you saw that in slow motion, it reminded me of what's his name. Remember the Red Sox, White Sox game back in the day, and I forget who it was. His ankle was backwards after he slid into home plate, and you saw a flag go down Purdue. I was quite concerned. I was like Darth Vader. No, I was flipping out. Thank God. It seems he made the free throws and he walked off even less gingerly than I thought. Going to get examined today. I'm sure he'll miss a couple of games. He won't play in Phoenix tomorrow night. But anyway, good morning, Bill. I don't know if you stayed up to watch the game last night or saw that. It was 3:35 to go in the third quarter. But before we get into football, just being up that way, I felt like I got punched in the gut.
Yeah, that was the Bill Laimbeer foul that he made famous. You know,
Yeah.
he was ruin ankles, and he did it on purpose. I'm not sure Sabonis did that on purpose, but
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
no, he didn't, and he's a good guy. But you know, I guess after the game, he was seen walking to the bus, but with a slight limp. So
Yeah.
it's not he'll wear a boot for a couple of days. Look, the probably the better news from the game, besides the win,
Yep.
besides Shireman, who looks like a hell of a player, by the way.
I told you he's a steal when they got him from Creighton. Absolute steal.
But the new Red Sox, the new owner, Bill
Yeah.
Chisholm, was there.
I
Bill
saw it.
he's based in the Palo Alto area.
Mm-hmm.
He has a connection to our area. He went to Brooks School and in North Andover, and I'd had a big piece on him last week. In fact, on Sunday, on his sort of his reign at Brooks. Now, this is it came off as this big rich guy, taking over the Celtics, and they're in trouble. This is not a local guy. No. This is a local guy who grew up middle class, grew up in Georgetown, Mass, and was a college soccer player.
Let me tell people Georgetown, Mass is up near Gloucester area for those of you who are listening around the country and around the world. So if you know the movie Perfect Storm, it's up towards that area.
Yeah, so it's not far. Like, honestly, from where I am here in North Andover, it's about 10 miles away. Not far at all on the route to the North Shore. But this guy's the real deal. And I'm just telling you, I talked to all his friends. He was a day student at Brooks. His mother was a secretary. His father worked for the MDC for 40-something years. Went to college at night. So very good work ethic. Father is from Somerville, one of 9 kids. So this is This is a guy that loved the Celtics, and played soccer, but I guess basketball was his favorite sport. He just wasn't tall enough. He was pretty good size, 6'1" by the time he graduated. But this is a college soccer player, and my point is, this is an athlete, a real person, and I think the Celtics got a winner with him. So that's
I think he came off great last night on TV. I mean, and Abby interviewing him. The only thing I have is play that whole interview at halftime. Don't spend 3 minutes on it during the game. It disrupts it. I don't know what NBC Sports Boston is doing sometimes, or Nesson for that matter. That's just me in the broadcast. But I loved what he had to say. He came off as very genuine to me, almost like Robert Kraft. Different scenario, but almost like when Robert Kraft first bought this. But I think this guy's very genuine. How about Kim being obsessed with Joe Mazzulla? That was his wife. That was kind of interesting. I'm obsessed with him. She's a big fan too, but it was a tad creepy a little bit, but she was excited.
Yeah, I listen. Again, this is look, I think everyone was looking for Pagluka to get the team, and I think he would have been great. But this might be even better. And he basically has said, "I'm all in. I'm going to move back to Boston, and I'm going to run the team as the owner, and I'm going to go to games." That's exciting for Celtics fans, because I think the scare is that this is going to fall apart. It's not going to fall apart. This guy's a winner.
No, I agree with you, but there are a couple of there's some layers to this onion. One, you're still paying rent to the Bruins. Let's not forget that. They don't own the building, and I know there's been talk recently, maybe we can get into that a little bit too, about, and it's been talked about for the last several years about the Celtics wanting to have their own building. We'll get into that in a second, but also Wick Grossbeck's going to be running the organization for at least the next 3 years. At some point, I hope it's not, because basically everybody's re-signed for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
Will there be any pressure at all from Chisholm to Wick Grossbeck to try to make a profit with this team, which is going to be very difficult. Let's be honest. It's a business. It's going to be difficult with all the hundreds of millions of dollars that they have tied up and all these great players. contracts. But do you think there'll ever be pressure from Mr. Chisholm to to Wick Grossbeck to wheel and deal a couple of these guys?
I'm not sure. You're right. It is a business. I don't understand how you can pay every starter $30 million and get away with it. I know Golden State's been pulling it off for years. A couple other teams, the Lakers have done it as well. So, maybe going to have to listen. The reason why Wick did it, he wasn't so much interested in the day-to-day profits. He knew he bought a team for $325 million. He sold it for $6.1 billion. What these owners, I think they know, but what fans don't understand is these teams make money just by existing. And even if they maybe the balance sheet isn't ideal, maybe they take a loss, maybe they lose $1 million in a year, but they gain 50 million in value, 100 million in value, if not $500 million in value. So this guy's going to do it right. He's a competitive guy, and listen.
How aggressive would you be though about a new building? That's huge. I mean, I'm sure the Celtics for years. I know Red hated paying the Bruins rent. I know he hated it.
Yep.
And I understand it, but I'm trying to think where a new Celtics arena would be built.
Well,
that's the other thing.
There has been rumors, and it's something I'm looking into. There's some land in Boston out on the outskirts that have been looked at. This is like 2 months ago.
Not over where the casino is. I hope not over where the casino is.
No, it's on the south side, and it's there is a lot of land. John Fish, owner of Suffolk Construction, he had potential plans of a stadium.
You talking Southie, or you talking South? Are you talking Southie, or you talking like where they proposed the Red Sox and the Patriots back in the day, which would have looked very much like San Francisco?
Yes, Pete. Somewhere in that whole region of the South, there's a lot more land. There's no land north anymore, and there is some land probably in Everett or wherever, but that's not where they're going to put the team. Mm-hmm. So, but the team is in good hands. I'm just going to say that. I don't know what he's going to tell Wick. But this guy's a winner. All you need to know about him is he was the only billionaire that didn't have a wiki page until he bought the team, meaning he quietly has built his fortune and his companies. He sits on 10 boards, very charitable guy, a normal billionaire. I don't know if there are many of them, but again, he grew up he's a middle-class kid from Georgetown.
On the streets. One of 9 in Somerville. Are you shitting me? I mean, come on.
That's his father, and he's one of 3. But still, he's one of 3 kids. Yeah, so that's the point. That's where he came from. His father, like I said, 40-something years with the MDC, mother a secretary at Brooks. So this is going to be great. I think this is going to. In fact, talking to a couple of his buddies, one guy said he's going to be the best owner Boston's ever had. I go, whoa, we've had some really good ones here. He said he's going to be the best owner in Boston sports. So we'll see.
I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he does what he's getting into.
Yes.
With the Celtics. Now, I've also heard possibly, and maybe this is common knowledge or common for any new owner, but he's probably looking for investors as well. I've heard that. Mm-hmm. He wants the guys to put 10, 15% down. I understand that. He's got the money to pay for this, right? He's got the $6.1 billion, I should say.
His company that he's CEO of, yes, they have the money. So it's not, but they're always looking for investors and, to take some of the risk. And look, the NBA is a worldwide game. That's why they can pay these contracts. That's why they're worth what they are. And it's we mentioned China, but we're talking the entire world is watching the NBA. That's why they can pay 5 starters $30 million per year, roughly, which is what the Celtics guys are getting. So, I just think, look, I think it's a great situation. I can't get into, I don't know exactly what's going to happen long term, but the team is in great shape. And, Brad Stevens, if he stays, I think that's really what that'll be the telling point. How long does Brad stay? And I know there were rumblings about him maybe taking over the Indiana University, which is where he grew up. But now Brad's the one. If Brad's happy, I think things are going to continue where they are. And Wick, I can't say enough good things about Wick. Wick has been a great.
I've been able to talk to those guys on and off for years at different times. short conversations. I think they're the real deal. This guy last night, the first time I've ever heard him, the way, not just the way he presented himself, I did not sense any bullshit at all. Nothing. It was all pure and genuine. And I just hope that he surrounds himself with good people, because you don't want him, not that he'd ever end up like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a great marketer. He's a terrible owner. As far as how
he's a terrible GM. He's a terrible GM.
A terrible GM. So as long as Monsieur Chisholm surrounds himself with great people, and he's already got some there, this could go on for a long time. This thing, they are so awesome to watch. It's just every night I feel like it's a privilege, and they can sit 2 and 3 guys sometimes, starters, and I think they're legitimate when they don't play. Tweak this, or they're going to tweak. It just there's nobody that can do that. Nobody in the league can sit 2 and 3 starters and still win by double digits. They continue to do it. They continue to be impressive. And the kid from Creighton has just emerged the last 2 weeks. I knew once he got some playing time that people are going to love him. He's going to be the new darling of this team, a new fan favorite. He's fantastic.
Look, Pete, I did a story when he was drafted. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of Nebraska football.
Yep.
All-time great. Could have gone to the University of Nebraska, but basketball was a sport.
Yep.
Sort of like, remember Pat Connaughton? Pat Connaughton threw the ball 95 miles an hour in high school, 90-something miles in high school, but he was a basketball player, and he never really went to baseball. I think that's the situation here. This is a great athlete, and he was up in Maine for 3 months, and slowly got better, got consistent. I'm in shock at how good he is right now. I'm just in shock how comfortable he looks right now.
People, speaking of Maine, how many people up there know that Cooper Flagg is from Maine? Do people in New England, I mean, I know college basketball doesn't get talked a lot. In Boston, in Providence it does, but not Boston. Do people know that Cooper Flagg is from Maine?
Listen, the guy that found him was Scalabrini. Brian Scalabrini's the one who heard about him. Brian had him down for a workout, and then Brian calls Duke the next day and says, "This kid, he's in high school. And they go, he's from Maine. No. He's I don't know if he threw the name Larry Bird out there, but he goes, this kid is got special instincts. I've never seen anything like it. He's 14. He can play with 17-year-olds and be the best player in the floor. He's fun to watch. I'm not a Duke guy. In fact,
I'm not either, but he is fun to watch. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad, but I'm just wondering if people, and he had his father on, he had the University of Maine, hockey sweater on and everything else. I'll get to that. I do want to get to the Patriots with you, but I'm just wondering, just because somebody's from Maine or Alaska, who cares? They're that good. They're either going to go to a great prep school, or it doesn't really matter where you're from. You had what's his name from Duke grew up in Buffalo.
Right.
So what did that mean?
The key is competition, Pete. That's why you want these kids to see they don't get the overall competition. So you got to play in an AAU team that travels nationally and maybe is based in New England, and that's what he did, and that's what he ended up doing. And now he's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft. Who is it? The Wizards or whoever's got going to have the first pick. They got their guy to build around. So that's going to be fun.
All right. Before we get to the Patriots, I do think. And I don't know if you're going to write any columns about, I'm sure you are, because you're a big hockey fan as well. What an amazing accomplishment for Hockey East and New England in general. 6 Hockey East teams, 8 teams in general, if you count Quinnipiac, and absolutely Bentley. What a story that is. And they're going to play BC up in Manchester, but I don't know if you're going to, or if you have done pieces on Bentley, winners of the American. That is one... It won't go. It won't be mentioned by a lot of the country. That has got to be one of the best sports stories or underdog sports stories of the year, right? I mean, that's a phenomenal job that they have done in such a short period of time. And then they go up against. You talk about David and Goliath, but never underestimate anybody in this tournament. As you know, Yale won the whole thing a few years ago as a 16th seed. But what a fascinating story for Bentley. I know hardly anything about them. I follow the Hockey East teams. I don't really follow the American. But wow, and just your thoughts on the whole thing.
Pete, you've been in New England. You lived here. You grew up here. Bentley, in Division II, dominant.
Dominant.
So men's basketball, very good. Women's basketball, number, probably the best Division II team over the last 30 years. Probably is Bentley. Again, this year, another great run. So so this is listen. Bentley, in my opinion, should have gone Division I in all sports a few years ago, just like Merrimack has done over the last several years. And I'm a Merrimack grad.
Yep.
But Bentley there's something about that school. There is something about that school. They hire great coaches. If you see, all the coaches stay for 20, 30 years.
Men and women.
Yeah, Dick Leip's been there about 40 years. He won't ever leave. He's where he works for the Celtics during the game broadcast at the home games. So, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, Pete. They've been building. They've always had a pretty good team since they went to Division I. They went to the Atlantic Hockey League, and that league doesn't get a lot of respect.
No.
But that was a look. They beat Holy Cross again. Not another big time school here. College hockey.
But there's only 64 Division I schools, and the fact that they're doing what they're for hockey anyway, and the fact that they're one of 16 and 8, half the field is from New England. Right. That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
So look, BC is the best team, in my opinion, the most talented team in the country.
Well, they have the best player in the country.
I've seen BC a couple times this year, and
so have I.
That's an NHL. They got like 8 guys that are going to play in the NHL.
But they were last year too, Billy, and they lost 2-0 to Denver at the championship. Disappointing. That's what I'm saying. It can happen. Now Providence has to play Denver in the first round, and hopefully they'll knock them off. Because, but
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Pete. 4 teams from the East, or 3 teams from the East in the final Frozen Four. I would not be surprised.
No, absolutely not. The odds are with you. Maine has to go. I think Maine has to go out and play Penn State in their backyard. I thought it was interesting. PC's coach Lehman, who said he wanted to go to like Fargo. He goes, "We play better away from Schneider." I said, "Well, Manchester and Schneider, but still, it's." I'm sure the crowds are going to be they're going to be very good, because college hockey is it is so awesome, and it really is the minor leagues, for the pros. There's a lot. They're going to see a lot of good players starting on Thursday.
Listen, Pete, I was at so I saw Northeastern Merrimack in the first round of Hockey East. It's right across the street here, and Merrimack outplayed Northeastern. Goalie stole it. Northeastern's first line is an NHL line, 3 guys. Other than that, not a strong team. But their goalie, Whitehead, absolutely owned the game. Then he beats BC in the next series, in the quarterfinals. So BC doesn't even get to the Final Four.
I know, they did Providence. They're ranked 5 or 6 all year. They lose to UConn, who's like come out of nowhere in the Hockey East rankings.
Look, UMass Lowell looked like they were going to make the tournament.
They were right there until the end.
Your point is, and that's the point, there were 8 to 10 teams that looked like they had a shot at making the NCAA tournament. In the end, 6 from Hockey East. That's borderline unheard of. But it's a strong league this year, top to bottom. It was probably one of the best years they've probably ever had, and as we saw in the tournament. And we got UConn, another team. Mike Kevin, our North Andover kid. We got a lot of North Andover people we're talking about today. North Andover kid, his father, legendary high school coach at North Andover High. He was at BC for like 12 years as an assistant coach, goes to UConn. He's had some decent years, got a new contract. Pressure was on, and he answered this year. They got to the finals of the Hockey East tournament. They're a team to watch. They got 2 lines that can compete with any team in the country. Again, Pete, this is a great league.
Fantastic. I can't wait for it to start on Thursday. The teams out west are very good too. The Big Ten. I mean, Minnesota's good. Minnesota State, North Dakota. I mean, they're all excellent teams. All right, let's get to the Patriots a little bit. I must Mike Tannenbaum, I never have any respect for. As a person, personally, I think he's a nice man. Professionally, I have nothing he does. I take with a grain of salt. The Patriots are not drafting Armand Membu, guard out of Missouri. If they do, I will go kill myself. From a sports standpoint, that ain't happening. However, I'm becoming more and more intrigued about the Patriots taking Travis Hunter if he's there at 4. I really am. I know they have other needs at offensive line. I don't know who's going to be left, at least draft-wise there. But I got to tell you, Bill Burke from the Eagle Tribune, I'm becoming more intrigued with the possibility of grabbing the Heisman Trophy winner and him playing for the Patriots.
I don't know who said it, if it was, it was Dante Scarnecchia was asked about the draft. And he said, when you draft up as high as they are drafting, you either draft a guy that can kill the quarterback, or you draft a guy who could score a lot of touchdowns. You need touchdowns. So basically, they need a borderline all-time great player. And go back to, I liken this year, Pete, to the 2001 Patriots when they drafted Richard Seymour and Matt Light. And
Now, real quick, because it's a great point. And do you remember what the Borgeses of the world were saying back then? They didn't take David Terrell and a mission. I'm like, you don't even know who Richard Seymour is, and it ended up being, once again, the Patriots.
One of the great picks. Look,
Terrell was a bust.
He's a disruptor, and he blew up to offensive lines. And then Matt Light is 11 years starter at left tackle on one of the greatest runs a franchise has ever had. They drafted a guy in the second round out of Purdue, but that year, Pete, what Scott Pioli did, and I connected with him a few weeks ago on this, is they won the secondary free agents that they signed as well. It wasn't just Vrabel, and Vrabel was a steal. You know, he wasn't playing; he was a backup with the Steelers, but they picked up a lot of players. Some of them were Jets. Remember, he brought in a couple of Jets, Belichick and Pioli, because they were with the Jets. But you know, they brought in Buckley. They brought in
Terrell Buckley.
Yeah, that year was a lot of 1 and 2 year free agents that came in and added value right away to a team nobody expected. Let's go. They were 0-2, Pete. It was right after September 11th. And then Bledsoe gets hurt, and you know, we had no idea who Tom Brady was. None of us did, and everything just. They had veterans all throughout the lineup. Listen, I want to go to coaching too. I think Doug Marrone is a steal on the offensive line, and he was there at Boston College yesterday. They had pro day at Boston College because Boston College has Kendall and Trapello. They have two early.
I want
round,
Trapello on the Patriots. I was just talking about. I want Trapello on the Patriots.
Well, you know what? So they got to make decisions, Pete, because you basically Travis Hunter. Is the touchdown guy, but they also do need a left tackle. Let's be honest. That's the position. And when you say offensive line, I think their offensive line is set, other than they need a stud left tackle. So I don't know where they're going to get him.
How'd you feel about David Andrews, the way all that went down? It was just, I know you don't want to become sentimental in the NFL. I always bring up Eli Manning with the Giants, stayed 2 years too long and really handcuffed them salary cap wise. I know shoulder injury for Andrews and all that stuff. Did they do the right thing here with him, or you think they should have hung on to him?
Pete, listen, Belichick did the same thing. He let guys go, and it's hard. Listen, I think the Patriots had their eyes on Bradbury, and he was given his release.
By the Vikings.
A free agent.
I was hoping they'd pick him up. In fact, weren't you on with me? I think that day he got released, I said, I hope New England grabs him.
Yes. We said that's the guy. And if it's him or Andrews, I don't think there's a question. Andrews is near the end. If Andrews was willing to come on and be a backup, basically a backup center, but I don't see it. These situations never end the way you want. I don't know what the nice way of doing this would have been. I just like the way they've built this. They've started to build the team. Now the guy's going to play, but I like the way they built the team. And I'm sorry, because David Andrews was an upfront guy, Pete. Every press conference, he came in with his uniform on, shirt off, and he was the first guy that addressed the media. And this is like disappointment after disappointment. And I felt bad for the guy, but he did it every single game. He was the first guy that would come out of the locker room, and he felt as a captain of the team. But I think it was time.
Bradbury goes, the scouting report. I mean, look, I've seen enough. The Vikings with that offense and everything else. But the knock against him is the alligator arm thing, and he's not the best center in the world, and he's not going to be able to do the job. I'm not. Let's see the guy play first.
No, he's a good player, Pete. He's a good player. Well, listen, the other thing is Cole Strange is healthy. Yeah. And Cole Strange played center the final game, the game they won. They beat Buffalo. And I think he played a couple plays even the game before that. But again, depth on the offensive line hasn't been this good in a few years. The key is, though, they got to get a left tackle. They do not have that guy yet. And that's you don't steal left tackles.
But just answer me this, riddle me this. Vidarian Lowe, I know they made more cuts the other day. What the hell is he still doing on this team? He sucks. He's awful. He's one of the worst offensive linemen I've ever seen. You can't get through 2 minutes of a Patriots game without a hold or a false start. He stinks.
He was used. He was not ready to be used in the role they had him. I think he's more of a developmental guy, and again, on a better team.
Let him develop somewhere else. I've seen enough. I'm like Sheppard. I've seen enough. Get out.
Well,
he sucks. He sucks. He's not disciplined. He doesn't pay attention. He doesn't.
Now he's going to have
Tell me one thing that guy does well.
He's not going to start, Pete. He's going to have to earn time, and I think he was rushed. Picked up as a practice squad guy. I don't know. I'm just saying that's really not an issue because he's not going to be. He's not going to be one of quote unquote.
I don't want him on the field anytime. I don't care where it is. Get him out. He stinks.
Well, I'm just going to say back to Doug Marrone, the offensive coordinator. Now we know the story. Doug Marrone and Bill O'Brien. Their wives were roommates at Boston College.
Oh,
and so there's the connection there, and they're best friends, O'Brien and Marrone. And in fact, he worked with Bill for a year, and now he's with the Patriots. And listen, he's a former head coach. He walked out on the Bills job. He gets a job with Jacksonville. I think this has been a mess, the offensive line, since Dante left. And I think this is potential stability. They've added some guys, and they still need the left tackle. But I just feel that there's a good vibe, Pete, with this team, and they still have to produce in the field. They added a lot of guys. Sometimes it takes, when you add as many guys as they've added, it's going to take a little time. But this defense, this is Vrabel's defense, and I think he's letting Marrone do a lot on the offense. And then we got, I think Josh McDaniels. I don't understand the criticism he takes. Everyone just looks at him as strictly the basically created by Tom Brady. I disagree with that. I think we saw it during
Matt Castle.
We saw Mac Jones' rookie year.
And Matt Castle back in the Mac Jones. I mean, the guy went to the Pro Bowl. I know he's an alter, but nevertheless,
he was rock solid as a rookie under him. So I again, the direction, Pete, I like a lot of signings here, short term. They get they've added 5 linebackers. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's the one. If you ask me about Belichick, he was not good at drafting wide receivers or even signing wide receivers. And he just didn't bring in a lot of linebackers that added any value. Drafted a couple. Bentley's been great. Solid, good. Uche was a good pass rusher for a while, but he could only pass rush. He couldn't help out.
Judon was good for a while, and then
he couldn't help out on the run. It was not good enough on the run. So back to again, the vibe right now is good. All the coaches were there at BC yesterday, and they're. I think you said it. They're looking at the 2 offensive linemen there. So, but what do we do? Carter, 4th overall. Hunter, it's a risk. Go back to Parcells. Parcells didn't like drafting 180-pound guys with the 3rd and 4th overall pick. Remember a guy named Terry Glenn? He wants size for that.
Yes, I remember her. God rest his soul.
But Travis Hunter is a rare athlete, and I wasn't really sold on him. But the more time, I don't know why. Look, I don't. He hasn't played football, and the more time has gone on, I think he potentially fits with this team. They still need another wide receiver as well. So it's not just one. They probably need 2 wide receivers. So there are issues still with the Patriots, but there's a lot of time, Pete. We're right now March 25th. I think the draft can help. And I think, remember, there's going to be some cuts in June where they can get someone who can add value on the short term at both positions, both tight end and both wide receiver and both left tackle.
Bill Bird, Eagle Tribune. Last couple of minutes here. Red Sox playing useless exhibition games in Mexico. I hope nobody gets hurt. I can't stand it. Feel bad. I saw Tom Caron last week at the ballpark, and we were just like, yep. I'm glad about Christian Campbell. Made a great play. Made ESPN's top 10 the other night. Blah blah blah. Before I get to the Red Sox, what's your son Max still with the Yankee organization? I mean,
still with the Yankees.
Where will he be on opening day?
Looks like he's going to start in Double-A. They open in Hartford, so good for me. I'm going to be there next Friday.
You talking about Trenton, the Trenton Yankees?
No, come on, Pete. They moved there 5 years ago. They're in Somerset, New Jersey.
Somerset, New Jersey. That's right. I forgot.
They've been there for a few years. That's about a half hour. The reason why they love Somerset is a lot of the Yankees, when they're doing rehabs, they can go a half mile south of New York City and come down. It's a great place, great location. So we're all good. Baseball, we're still hammering away, and I think it's going to be a big year for Max Burt. And as I tell people out there, pray for his father.
And he will be playing what, short and second or
Probably,
combination?
yeah, the entire
Yeah.
infield. Second's open on this team. They have another prospect, Lombard, who's a great, going to be a great first round draft pick out of high school, sort of like Volpe. And Max is, I think, going to be with him, helping him a little bit. You know, Max is sort of he's an infield. That's his specialty. So that's going to be exciting. I can't wait for baseball. It's like every day there's a game. We can watch the games. They're on. Every game is on. We can watch on our computer. We plug it into the TV, so it's great. And I go down probably once every other week to New Jersey to watch. So I'm excited.
He's a starter, right? He plays a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So would he rather? You think he'd rather be in AA than AAA? We know AA is the new AAA. AA is where all the good prospects stay, and then they usually, get bumped past AAA onto the big leagues a lot of the times, at least.
No, you'd rather be in AAA. You'd rather end up because AAA is where the prospects are. It's where most of the players in AAA have short-term major league experience, so they get sent back. And that's what like most teams like the Yankees, they'll sign 3 or 4 infielders that played in the majors a little bit. And, they're looking for experience if they have to fill a spot. Then there's someone like Max, where if he has a good month or so, he's sort of taken the track that Mike Yastrzemski took, 28 years old and got called up got traded by the Orioles to Sacramento, to the Giants, has a good month in Sacramento and is in the majors and never left. And now he's making 9 point something a year. So we would appreciate that. We'd like that number in our family. So all good, Pete. All good.
Did you ever think over the last couple of years that Max would be traded?
No, we've never heard. There's interest.
Yeah.
You hear about it, and he was a free agent, and there was interest, but we thought the Red Sox was a possibility, and basically, I don't know if I'm breaking news here, but there were a couple other teams. And, I know a bunch of people in the Red Sox organization. The AA manager lives in Derry, New Hampshire. Chad Epperson, legendary great guy. Been with the organization 20 years. But it's good. Max is very good friends with a bunch of Yankees, including Volpe. In fact, he's going to stay with Volpe's family when he lives in Somerset.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's that close with that family. So, yeah, sometimes I wonder if he's a Volpe rather than a Bert.
Well, yeah. Well, Red Sox opening up. I'm excited. I mean, I like the pitching. Although, man, did he get lit up the other day? And I'd say I didn't watch it. I don't know how. But what did he give up? 10 runs in 2 1/3 innings. I mean, he got lit up. Don't want to see that in the spring training. I don't know if he was just practicing stuff or how serious he was taking it. But geez, that stat. I was like, God, please.
This team, I think the Red Sox are going to be good. My issue would be the pitching staff and health. It's like I have a story. We have a special section coming out on Thursday. I was down there for a week.
I know I missed you. I can't believe we didn't hook. I mean, you and Meter, I missed you both. Everybody else I got to hang out with, but you guys, our schedules just didn't jive. I feel badly about that.
So the Red Sox, though, Pete, you got Bregman, you got Buehler, and you got Crochet. And those are the 3 headliners, and they are built in, built for Boston. Not everyone can handle Boston. Yep. And those 3 are coming in. And Bregman, I'm shocked at Bregman, just how great he's been.
It's like he's been here forever, isn't it? Isn't it like he's been here forever?
It's just a perfect fit. I don't know what the Astros were thinking of. I guess the Astros are near the end. They had their run, and guys have left. George Springer, Correa, they're a different roster now. They're still talented, but Bregman fits here like a glove. Getting Devers to approve, which wasn't easy, of being a DH for now, I think was a huge deal. And I just think the Red Sox have lacked in leadership in the clubhouse, other than the manager. The manager can't be the leader of the team. He can be the leader, when they're obviously leading the team, but you need guys inside the clubhouse. Bregman's been great. I mean, Christian Campbell just told me a couple of great stories about Bregman just working with, talking baseball with him. He goes, he's like a sponge. These guys are sponging off of Bregman. And Bregman's, he's accepted the role. He's accepted the role of leading this team. And
how about Campbell? I mean, he's going to be the starting second baseman.
He's starting. And look, Rowan Anthony might be the best of the 3 of them, but there's just no room right now because Wilder Abreu is a very good player. And the thing is, the Red Sox have time. They can bat Christian Campbell 8th. It's that they're in no rush. Whereas if this is 2 years ago, Pete, all three of these guys would be starting and they're not ready. They don't need these guys to perform. So bring them along at their pace. Look, Marcelo Mayer's never been in the AAA. So when they moved up to AAA, he went on the injury list. So, getting a month of AAA games is interesting. He's the replay. He's I'm not saying surprised me, but he looks like a ball player. He's big, he's strong, he looks mature. And these three, the best part about it is they're all buddies. They walk around, they walk into the park together. I think they drive in together. Roman Anthony, that's why I think the short term is great, but the long term is equally as great. And we'll see the pitching. I think that's my concern, the injuries to pitching. We're going to see a closer. If Chapman can handle it, he hasn't been able to handle it for a couple of years. He's going to start as a
closer. He's going to be the eighth inning guy. The other thing I love is Whitlock the other day going to Cora saying, "Put me in the bullpen. I don't need, my ego isn't that big to be a starter." I like that a lot. I think that helps the bullpen.
That's huge.
Talk to me about Chapman first. I mean, this isn't going to be closer by committee for a little while, is it? I don't want to see that again.
No, I think Chapman's it's his job now to lose. It was Hendrick's job to lose, and he lost it.
And he lost it.
But he's also had some good outings. So listen, he's coming off Tommy John. So we expect, we got to forget, it takes some time to work out kinks. There's a little rust. You're afraid to throw it maybe, consistently, because Hendricks is a upper 90s kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Chapman though looks, I got to be honest, I was impressed. He's a pro, and he's going to get a chance to win this job. He desperately wants to be a closer again. So he's going to get his opportunity. The Red Sox can't afford 8 or 9 blown saves in the first 2 months because that could ruin a team. But if they can stabilize that, if Hendricks was a closer, he was not going to pitch he's not going to do back-to-back-to-backs. It was going to be a Chapman coming in anyway. So I think, Pete, you're right. It's going to be a little bit of closer by committee. You mentioned Whitlock. Whitlock can close games if he has to. Whitlock can come in the 6th inning and finish a game. And I think you might see a little of that as well if guys are, maybe not 100.
Maybe start if you need to, or if a starter gets lit up, hopefully it doesn't happen. Kind of like what's his name back? Well, I forget his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I'm glad Whitlock had the maturity to go to Alex and say, "Hey, put me in the bullpen. Any way I can help this team. It's refreshing."
And Pete, there's another guy, Greg Weissert. So Greg Weissert, they got with the Yankees. So
Weissert's from down here, I think, from Southwest Florida.
He lives in South Carolina, but he's from New Jersey.
Okay, who am I thinking? There's a guy that's from Southwest Florida that's on the team. I forget. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So Weissert is a Yankee, and he's just gotten better and better. He had to win a job, and he did this spring. And I saw him at the beginning of spring because I know him. He played with Max in AA and AAA. I'm a big fan of Greg Weissert. Tough kid. I don't think he has given up a run in like 6 outings, and I don't know what he did his last outing. But another guy all of a sudden he goes from a 6th inning to a potential 7th, 8th inning guy. So they have depth in the bullpen. My issue is they got a lot of guys that had Tommy John surgery, including Buehler, who's had it twice, Kenny Crotchet. So he's gonna have to manage that a little bit, but they have a bullpen that can manage that.
Bill, great stuff as always. From the Eagle Tribune, I've already retweeted your about coming up on Thursday, Built for Boston, your preseason. That looks awesome. Look forward to reading that.
24 pages. It's in the newspaper. Just buy the newspaper and you'll get the best Red Sox preview section around.
Well, give my best to your son, Max, and hopefully we see him playing at Fenway against the Red Sox with the Yankees, and, all the best. And
I won't be if that happens, I won't be working that day.
That'll be something. That will be so. We'll look forward to that day. He'll get there. He's gonna get there. Bill, thanks so much for the Eagle Tribune. We look forward to reading all your stuff, and we'll talk soon, my friend. Thanks so much. Great conversation today.
All right, great stuff, Pete. Take care.
All righty. There it is, Bill Burt, and want to thank everybody for checking out the Pete Sheppard Show today here on the Coastal Sports Network. Angel will be back tomorrow. I had Pete, full show, Bill Spiros, and probably John Meter-Perel tomorrow here on the Coastal Sports Network. Have a great and safe rest of your March 25th, everybody. And remember, don't live in sin, but it's a sin. See ya.